Chapter 2902. When he was still 10,000 miles away from Peace City, Knight Sorrow saw the figure of the Golden Crow in the void. He shouted respectfully, "Lord Supreme, you've worked hard." The first time he went hunting in the Eternal Supreme Realm, he had been missing for more than 100 years. Knight Sorrow felt rather emotional. The Golden Crow had been guarding here all this time, which made him feel rather respectful. Moreover, when he saw the other party, he felt very at ease. "Knight Sorrow, you're finally back. Everyone was worried that you had fallen in the forbidden area of the Mass Burial Peak. This time, you have to leave a soul lamp in the City Lord's mansion. Do you understand?" The Golden Crow, who had long sensed Knight Sorrow's arrival, spoke with slight excitement after Knight Sorrow spoke. The Golden Crow was very optimistic about Knight Sorrow as a junior. However, he did not expect that he would enter the forbidden area on his first hunting trip, so he missed the battle decades ago. "Yes, Lord Supreme, it's Knight Sorrow's fault. I shouldn't have advanced rashly and lost the opportunity to participate in the battle for Providence." After the Golden Crow spoke, Knight Sorrow said rather shamefully. Knight Sorrow felt very guilty that he had missed the battle for Providence after obtaining the general laws and essence of the invincible Dominator. It's okay. You didn't miss it. You didn't miss the battle for Providence." Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, the Golden Crow opened his eyes with a smile and said, "With the valiant performance of the Myriad Sword Sect and Shao Tianxian, my territory in the Heavenly Realm has entered the second round of the battle for Providence. 20 years later, you will participate in the second round with them, and strive to let my territory in the Heavenly Realm enter the final round. The battle for Providence is divided into the first round, the second round, and the final round, and it lasts for such a long time." Hearing the Golden Crow's words, Knight Sorrow immediately asked in confusion. He had thought that since he had returned 100 years later, the battle for Providence would have ended long ago. The battle for Providence involves the battle for Providence of tens of thousands of territories. How can it end so easily? The Golden Crow opened his eyes and looked at Knight Sorrow. He continued to smile and said, "The first round is the last 4,000 territories in the previous battle for the chance to advance to the second round. Under the leadership of the Myriad Sword Sect and Shao Tianxian, my territory successfully entered the top 600 with only one Dominator falling. Such a result has not been seen for many years. In addition, a battle involving 4,000 territories took 100 years, which is already considered fast. Brother Wan and Sect Master Shao really did not disappoint." Yishang blushed with shame. "Then what about the second round and the final round?" While Knight Sorrow was sighed, he was grateful for the other two people's outstanding. At the same time, Knight Sorrow and Knight Dominator from the Heavenly Realm. A total of 3,200 territories have made it to the finals of the competition of Providence. The top 2,000 of the Upper Realm are exempt from the first and second round of the battle. Therefore, in the second round of the battle, there will be 200 places to advance each year. If my territory wants to reverse the situation, it must enter the final round and advance to the top 1,000. Only then can the providence of my territory be completely stabilized. Its origin will also gradually recover." After the Golden Crow patiently explained to Knight Sorrow, he said, "Hurry back to the Heavenly Realm City. There are many people there who are worried about you." "Then I won't disturb you any longer." Knight Sorrow will take his leave. Knight Sorrow knew that Jing Yun and Wu Lingfei would be very worried about him entering the Forbidden Zone and disappearing for more than 100 years. After bidding farewell to the Golden Crow, he flew back to the Heavenly Realm City. He was in such a hurry that he did not even have time to check the spatial device he obtained from the Demon Chi tribe's warriors. After returning to the Heavenly Realm City, Knight Sorrow did not immediately rush to the City Lord's mansion or contact the Myriad Sword Sect. Instead, he went directly to the Genius Base, wanting to see Jing Yun and Wu Lingfei as soon as possible. However, what made Knight Sorrow smile was that while he was hunting in the Forbidden Zone, Jing Yun and Wu Lingfei were both in seclusion, trying to break through to the Middle Divine King's realm. They did not know about him at all. I'm worrying too much. Let's go back to the City Lord's mansion first. Jing Yun and Wu Lingfei were doing well, so Night Sorrow did not have to worry about family matters at all and went straight to the City Lord's mansion. Coincidentally, in the City Lord's mansion, many Supremes were celebrating for the Myriad Sword Sect and Shao Tianxian. Most of the Paragons had already finished drinking. After all, the fact that they were able to enter the second round made them very happy. After all, in the last battle for destiny, the God World had ranked in the top 9,000, which meant that they were at the very bottom. As for the other sovereigns, they were almost drunk. Brother Yi is back. Night Sorrow is back. He didn't die in the Forbidden Zone. The first person to notice Night Sorrow's return was Murong Guides, who had not drunk much. After returning from the last hunt with Cao Ling, Murong Guides had been worried about Night Sorrow. Moreover, during the celebration, everyone mentioned Night Sorrow and felt sorry for him. This made Murong Guides feel even more uncomfortable, so he did not drink much. The moment he saw Night Sorrow, Murong Guides immediately shouted, "What? Night Sorrow is back." With Murong Jinlu's shout, the people who were originally drinking and enjoying themselves all turned their attention over. "Night Sorrow, you're back, and you have the aura of the Upper Divine King." "Good, very good." Seeing Night Sorrow's successful return, Zhu Feng's figure flashed and appeared in front of him. The other sovereigns also looked over. Before they could say anything, Shao Tianxian came to Night Sorrow's side and said emotionally, "It's good that you're back. It's good that you're back. Next, you'll stand side by side with us. Sectmaster, you and Brother One have worked hard." Night Sorrow was a little sad. After thinking for a while, he finally said 2 words. "Brother Yi, we also took a risk to advance this time. We still need you to turn the tide in the second round. Although the top sovereigns in our territory are not weak, we're at a disadvantage in terms of numbers." The Myriad Sword Sect was also very happy to see Night Sorrow. After absorbing the laws and essence of ordinary unrivaled sovereigns, he had broken through to the upper sovereign level. Just based on his individual combat strength, he would definitely be ranked around the top 500 in the Eternal Supreme world. He was still very strong. As for Shao Tianxian, although his talent was not bad, the resources he had obtained were average. He would probably be ranked around the top 4,000. However, there were only about 10 sovereigns of the same age in the Divine Realm. There was a huge difference in numbers compared to other territories. It was very difficult to fight. "Good. I, Night Sorrow, swear, I will break through to the Upper Divine King as soon as possible and bring the Divine Realm into the finals with everyone." Chapter 2903. Night Sorrow felt very guilty about his absence in the first round of the Battle of Providence, so he made a vow directly. After Night Sorrow spoke, Sovereign White Tiger said with a serious expression, "It's our incompetence. We don't have the ability to obtain a ranking in the Supreme Level Battle of Providence, so we've brought you great pressure. However, this Battle of Providence involves the life and death of the realm of the gods. I hope you can shoulder this responsibility. We will definitely not disappoint you." After Sovereign White Tiger finished speaking, several Dominator cultivators of the right age, including Myriad Sword Sect and Shao Tianxian, shouted with confidence. Although the goal was not easy to achieve, they were willing to shoulder this responsibility. At this time, Sovereign Black Tortoise, who rarely spoke, said, "You have to remember that behind you is the entire realm of the gods, and thousands of family members. But other than that, you have to remember that you are yourself. In a situation where there is no way to improve further, you can choose to give up and save your own life. With you around, the realm of the gods has a future." The older generation had defended the realm of the gods for so many years, but now they gradually felt powerless. Because their potential had been fully excavated, it was not realistic to want to continue improving. If not for this, the city lord of the realm of the gods would not have gone missing while looking for opportunities. Now that the realm of the gods had lost the support of top fighting forces, the nearby territories were becoming more and more presumptuous. These older supreme beings were actually under a lot of pressure. They were not afraid of dying in battle, but they were afraid that one day the realm of the gods would be destroyed, leading to the destruction of the realm of the gods. Sovereign Black Tortoise, don't worry. We will do our best to improve our strength and then obtain a good ranking in the Battle of Providence. Knight Sorrow could hear the helplessness in Sovereign Black Tortoise's words. He looked at everyone present and comforted them. Although these supreme beings in front of him were very strong, compared to the supreme beings of the other territories, they were not strong at all. There were some things that they were powerless to do. We all believe in you, Knight Sorrow. You are the child of destiny that we have deduced. The realm of the gods will rise again one day. Once, our territory in the god world is strong. The supreme being of the Horn clan drank a cup of wine and called Knight Sorrow and the others in front of him. He said, "Our territory in the god realm is not ranked at all, but we were once glorious. Follow me." The Horn clan supreme being. Don't do that. Supreme Ancestral Dragon hurriedly stopped him when he saw the Horn clan supreme being's reaction. He knew exactly what the other party wanted to do. It doesn't matter. I was about to die anyway. Let's make one last contribution to the god realm. The Horn clan supreme being stroked Cowlinger's hair. Then he said excitedly, "Let this old man bring you all to witness the glory of the god realm in the past. Burning divine blood, memory of eternity." Before anyone could stop him, the Horned Race's supreme being roared, and his body began to burn. After the Horn clan's prime being's body was set ablaze, the yuan qi of the world immediately changed. Something that happened in the ancient era suddenly appeared in the sky. In the ancient era, the god realm was incomparably glorious. It was ranked in the top 20 of the entire eternal supreme world. Especially under the leadership of Supreme Longevity, it rushed to the 12th place. And according to the momentum, it was very likely that the god realm would rush into the top 10. Because Supreme Longevity was already showing signs of breaking through the Supreme Realm and creating a new realm. However, dozens of top Supremes who did not want to see Supreme Longevity become the #1 person in the Eternal Supreme World attacked Supreme Longevity together in the Supreme Space. They were surrounded by dozens of top Supremes. Although Supreme Longevity was amazing, how could he be a match for so many Supremes? He was killed on the spot, and even his divine soul was crushed. After the God Realm's pillar fell, the top 30 territories all began to attack the God Realm. They continuously attacked the Supremes of the God Realm, causing most of them to fall in the Supreme Space. In just 10,000 years, the God Realm's ranking fell from 12th place to over 8,000. From then on, they could not recover. It was only when the God Realm's ranking fell to over 9,000 that the territories completely stopped. If not for the fact that the God Realm's territory had received a lot of providence back then, it would have been out of providence long ago. Bastards. All of these territories deserve to die. I didn't expect them to be so shameless. After watching the scene of the Horned Supremes burning their life force to summon, Master Myriad Sword was the first to roar. If Supreme Longevity of the God Realm's territory had not been besieged back then, he would have very likely become the first genius in the Eternal Supreme World to break through to the Supreme Realm. In that case, he would definitely be invincible in the Eternal Supreme World, and the God Realm's territory would probably become the #1 territory. Xiao Tianquan's eyes were a little red. He choked out, "We will protect the God Realm and let it bloom in the Eternal Supreme World again, no matter what difficulties and setbacks we encounter." Then, everyone understood. Although Xiao Tianquan's ancestor was not the Supreme Longevity, he was the third strongest in the God Realm at that time. He was also besieged and killed by the Supremes of the other territories. Seeing his ancestor being besieged and killed with his own eyes, Xiao Tianquan's anger could be imagined. Although we don't have much ability, we are still willing to shed our blood for the God Realm. The scene just now also made Murong Ziliu emotional. Knight Sorrow did not say much, but he was also moved. After watching the scene of the Horned Supremes sacrificing their lives to summon, he felt sorrow and a strong sense of unwillingness. Even separated by thousands of years, he could feel the sorrow of the Supreme Longevity's death from the scene. At that instant, Supreme Ancestor Phoenix glanced at the crowd and said, "Fellow Nine Heaven Supremes, I believe all of you are aware that Night Sorrow, the 10,000 Swords sect, Shao Tianxian, and the others are our only hope. This time, the God Realm needs them to fight with their backs to the wall. Now that the territory does not have many resources left, I hope everyone can contribute as much as possible. Yes, although this request is a little excessive, we hope that everyone present can contribute to this battle for karmic luck. I will set an example for everyone." After the Ancestor Phoenix Sovereign finished speaking, the White Tiger Sovereign stood up from his seat. From the space, he took out a sparkling and translucent medicinal pill and handed it to Yishang, saying, "Yishang, this seat sees that you're between middle-level Divine King and high-level Divine King. I hope that you can break through to a high-level Divine King as soon as possible. This pill is called the Immortal Essence Pill. I'll give it to you. It is used by sovereigns to break through small realms. It can help lower sovereigns break through to middle sovereigns and middle sovereigns to upper sovereigns." Chapter 2904. Originally, the White Tiger Sovereign had searched for this pill for his nephew, Myriad Sword Sect. But now that Myriad Sword Sect had broken through to the upper sovereign level, he gave the pill to Night Sorrow. Although you are only a middle Divine King, your true strength is not inferior to a sovereign, so you can take it directly. I only hope that you can break through to the sovereign level as soon as possible with your Divine King realm. No matter how stunning you are, you can't compare to those young people in the top territories for the time being. In fact, if it weren't for the rules, you can find sovereigns younger than 3 eras in some of the top territories." "What? Sovereigns who have cultivated for less than 3 eras? How is that possible?" Hearing the White Tiger Sovereign's words, even Night Sorrow was shocked. Cultivating to the sovereign level in less than 3 eras, this simply refreshed his understanding. Even Night Sorrow was shocked to this extent, so one could imagine how shocked the other sovereigns were. Myriad Sword Sect and Shao Tianxian were already unable to close their mouths. At this time, Night Sorrow continued, "It's a good thing that they are strong. At the very least, it proves that if talent and resources are enough, it won't take too long to break through to the sovereign level. Night Sorrow will set them as his goal and work hard to catch up. There won't be more than 10 eternal sovereigns. You don't have to feel shocked. The resources they can obtain are unimaginable for our divine world territories." Apart from Night Sorrow, the other sovereigns who were younger than 3 epochs seemed to have suffered a huge blow. Ancestor Phoenix immediately comforted them. The 10 strongest experts of the younger generation came from the top 10 territories. Each of them was fully trained by the top 10 territories and enjoyed endless resources. "Don't worry, Lord Sovereign. They are very far away from us, so we won't think about it for the time being. We will do our best to bring the best ranking for everyone in the future battle for Providence. This way, we won't let down the Horned Sovereign who left." After Ancestor Phoenix comforted him, Night Sorrow said this and looked at the Horned Sovereign. A man didn't cry easily because he hadn't been hurt. The Horned Sovereign's sacrifice made him cry uncontrollably. "We will also fight for the Horn Clan," Master Wan Jian said firmly. Everything that happened just now was deeply imprinted in his mind, causing a strong fighting spirit to rise around him. "I can feel your determination. Where is the determination of the supreme martial artists?" After Supreme Ancestor Phoenix said this, he took out the same Immortal Essence Pill that Supreme White Tiger had from his spatial artifact and handed it to Shao Tianxian. This pill is exactly the same as the one that Night Sorrow had. You can split it into 4 portions and consume 1 portion every 5 years. However, Night Sorrow won't give up on the path of blacksmithing. Night Sorrow said politely. Misery continued. "Then I'll have to ask Autarch Heavenly Treasure to refine a suitable divine artifact for Night Sorrow. It's just refining a half-step supreme artifact. It's not difficult for me. I can refine it on the spot." Autarch Heavenly Treasure smiled at Night Sorrow and started to refine the half-step supreme artifact in front of everyone. After being refined by Autarch Heavenly Treasure, The golden heavenly halberd was directly upgraded to a half-step supreme artifact, and the power of the sovereign increased by more than 10 times. Autarch Heavenly Treasure's work is indeed extraordinary. After being refined by Autarch Heavenly Treasure, the golden heavenly halberd became even sharper. Knight Sorrow held it in his hand and performed a few spear techniques in front of everyone, which immediately made many people's eyes light up. Now that Knight Sorrow's divine artifact had been upgraded, his combat strength had increased a lot. Some of the Supremes present revealed gratified smiles. As for the Myriad Sword sect, Xiao Tianxian, and the other sovereigns, they were a little envious, but they didn't say anything. At this time, Knight Sorrow continued. If Autarch Heavenly Treasure still has energy left, Knight Sorrow hopes that you can refine a half-step supreme artifact for the other sovereigns who are participating in the contest. If there are enough materials, I can naturally do it. However, it's not easy to find supreme artifact materials. When Autarch Heavenly Treasure heard Knight Sorrow's words, he immediately looked troubled. It was true that he could refine a half-step supreme artifact, but he had already used up all his supreme artifact materials and didn't have any left. What Knight Sorrow means is that I'll be responsible for all the required materials. Chapter 2905. What? So many supreme-grade materials, and they are of such high quality, they can be used to refine a real supreme-grade weapon. Seeing Knight Sorrow take out so much supreme essence gold, Master Wan Jian and Xiao Tianxuan's breathing quickened. Even some of the Supremes could not stay calm. Most of the people present had never seen so many supreme-grade materials before. Knight Sorrow is indeed a man of great luck. Seeing Knight Sorrow take out so many supreme-grade materials at once, Supreme Ancestor Phoenix burst into laughter. However, at this time, he looked at Knight Sorrow and said, Supreme Essence Gold is the common currency of the Supremes in the Eternal Supreme world. Are you really going to take it all out? Are you going to refine supreme-grade weapons for the contestants? Knight Sorrow is willing to do so. After Supreme Ancestor Phoenix finished speaking, Knight Sorrow nodded without hesitation. Then he added, For now, the most important thing is to get through the crisis of the realm of the gods. If we run out of materials, we can find more, but if the realm of the gods is gone, we and the entire realm of the gods behind us will suffer. Therefore, Supreme Heavenly Treasure, please refine supreme-grade weapons for everyone. Knight Sorrow, I am convinced that you could take out so much supreme essence gold so generously. From now on, don't call me supreme grade anymore. Just call me Brother Heavenly Treasure. Sovereign Heavenly Treasure said solemnly as he took the supreme-grade materials from Yishan. Knight Sorrow could take out so much supreme essence gold. Not everyone had the courage to do so. Hearing this, Knight Sorrow smiled and said, Brother Heavenly Treasure, I'll have to trouble you to do it for everyone. No trouble, no trouble. Refining so many half-step supreme-grade weapons will greatly improve my refining skills. Maybe I can find a way to refine supreme-grade weapons. Supreme Heavenly Treasure said with a laugh. Then he looked at the other geniuses and said, What kind of weapons are you good at? Tell me. After you get the weapons, you have to fight for the realm of the gods. Do you understand? Many autarchs only have sovereign artifacts. The Myriad Sword sect thanks Brother Yi. At this moment, the Myriad Sword sect was the first to bow to Knight Sorrow. Last time, he had been able to obtain half of the invincible sovereign's laws and essence because of Knight Sorrow's gift. Now that he had a half-step supreme artifact, his strength would soar once more. The gratitude he felt towards Knight Sorrow was indescribable. I didn't misjudge you. Xiao Tianxian also cupped his hands towards Knight Sorrow. After all, they were old friends, and he had even sent off Knight Sorrow and Tianyan Bao. So he wasn't as courteous as the Myriad Sword sect. As for Muron Guidance and the others, their gratitude towards Knight Sorrow was even stronger. He, Yuan Fengxue, and the others all bowed towards Knight Sorrow. To them, the value of a half-step supreme artifact was immeasurable. If they relied on themselves, they might never be able to obtain it. Esteemed autarchs, Night Sorrow still has one more thing to say. While Supreme Heavenly Treasure was refining divine artifacts for the many geniuses of the God world, Night Sorrow looked at the autarchs present and asked, I wonder, after the fall of the Supreme Longevity, were there any existences surpassing the autarchs born in the eternal Supreme World? He was thinking of the ancient stone coffin in the forbidden area of Disorderly Burial Peak. According to the autarch's original spirit, there might be existences surpassing the autarch in that ancient coffin. Yes, of course. Back then, after the major figures of the top territories killed the Supreme Longevity, they divided up his laws and essence. Now, the strongest of the top 10 territories have already surpassed the autarch realm. The 10 of them all obtained the Supreme Longevity's laws and essence. Supreme Phoenix said angrily, Night Sorrow, if you grow and have enough strength, you must destroy all the top 10 territories to avenge the Supreme Longevity. Do you understand? Night Sorrow understands. Supreme Phoenix's words were filled with killing intent, but Night Sorrow didn't object. If not for the fact that the strongest of those territories plotted against the Supreme Longevity and targeted the God world wouldn't be in such a difficult situation now. Then, how much do the autarchs know about the Forbidden Area? Night Sorrow didn't directly mention the ancient stone coffin. He was afraid that if he did, the autarchs of the God world would panic. The Forbidden Area is simply too mysterious to us. But the sages of the past have instructed us not to wander around the Forbidden Area unless it's absolutely necessary. Seeing that the other autarchs didn't answer Night Sorrow's question, Supreme Ancestral Dragon said, All right, Yishang was clear on this matter. If there's nothing else, Night Sorrow is going to cultivate. I'll strive to become an upper divine king within 20 years. Night Sorrow first bid farewell to the autarchs, then to Shao Tianxian, Myriad Sword Sect, and the others. Although he wanted to catch up with Shao Tianxian, he knew that time was too tight. Thus, he directly returned to his own residence. After setting up a formation, he began to inspect the spatial artifact he obtained from the Demon Chi tribe. The other items in the spatial artifact of the Demon Chi tribe were ordinary, but the stone mirror in Patriarch Qi Zhan's spatial artifact was very special. When he touched it, he had an extremely special feeling. Why do I feel that the energy contained in this stone mirror is even stronger than the half-step supreme artifact in my hand? This is a completely unexpected gain. Compared to the golden heavenly halberd, Night Sorrow found that the stone mirror in his hand was actually stronger. What he didn't know was that this was the supreme treasure of the Demon Chi tribe. The autarchs of the Demon Chi tribe felt that a divine king wasn't a threat, so they sent Qi Zhan to chase after him with the stone mirror. It doesn't seem to be easy to make it recognize me as its master. I'd better cultivate first. I'll think about it after I become an upper-level divine king. There was no mark on the stone mirror at all, but Night Sorrow tried to make it recognize him as its master, but he found that he couldn't make it recognize him as its master. Thus, he put the stone mirror into his space paradise, then took out an immortal essence pill and swallowed it directly. He felt that with the strength of his body, he could completely withstand the powerful impact of this pill. After all, the impact it brought was only at the level of a ruler. It can really withstand it. When the elixir pill took effect, Yishang immediately felt as if his entire body was on fire. His cultivation base and the strength of his body also became stronger. However, the effect of the immortal essence pill was far more durable than Night Sorrow knew. It actually lasted for a full 15 years before Night Sorrow successfully absorbed it. And Night Sorrow also successfully advanced to the upper-level Divine King realm with the help of the power of virtue and the immortal essence pill. After passing the Divine King tribulation, Night Sorrow directly came out of seclusion. This time, he didn't want to miss it. Chapter 2906. When Night Sorrow emerged from seclusion, he found that the city lord's manor was bustling with activity, or rather, chaos. Something seemed to have happened. Night Sorrow immediately sent a message to Ancestor Phoenix to ask what was going on. After asking, he learned that the celestial immortals were looking for Ji Yun, who had poached in the divine realm. As for the people of the god realm, aside from Night Sorrow and Muron Guide, no one else knew about Ji Yun. Naturally, I didn't know anything. Naturally, the celestial immortals were enraged. If it weren't for the fact that the divine realm still had a sliver of destiny remaining, they would have attacked already. Supremes, where are you? I'll go take a look. I know what's going on with Ji Yun. Night Sorrow asked after finding out what was going on. Clearly, the celestial immortals were baring their fangs and brandishing their claws when they came to rescue Ji Yun. After all, Ji Yun's poaching was a despicable act in the Eternal Supreme's world and a sign of disrespect to the divine realm. We're in the guest hall. Come over. However, the celestial immortals are very strong. Unless absolutely necessary, just watch. Don't interrupt. Ancestor Phoenix's tone was somewhat helpless. The divine realm was indeed weak at the moment. In terms of strength, it couldn't be compared to the celestial immortals. Emma, I understand. Yishang replied with a sigh of relief. However, he didn't say anything else. Instead, he hurried to the guest hall. They were very close. In a moment, Yichang appeared in the guest hall. The celestial immortals were brazenly threatening the celestial immortals. One of the dominators said with a dark expression, "If you don't hand over my brother, I, Ji Feng, will kill all the cultivators in your trash territory in the second round of the Battle of Providence. Leave none alive. Don't think you can avoid the celestial immortals. Our methods are beyond your imagination." Impudent. How dare a mere sovereign like you brag in front of so many sovereigns? The Myriad Sword sect, Shao Tianxian, and other genius sovereigns of the divine realm were all in seclusion, tried to increase their strength as much as possible. Some of the sovereigns present were young, and their strength was average. No one was a match for Ji Feng, and the sovereigns were wary of the strength of the heavenly immortal domain, so they were very polite. When Night Sorrow rushed over and saw Ji Feng spouting nonsense, he immediately reprimanded him. To him, the other party's behavior of slapping the face of the higher-ups was completely unacceptable. What are you? Just a high-level divine king, and also dares to shout and wrangle at me? Ji Feng. Ji Feng had a domineering look on his face. His father was standing behind him, and his strength was stronger than any of the supremes present in the divine world. Furthermore, he was one of the top 1,000 sovereigns in the Eternal Paragon world. I don't care if you're Ji Feng or Ji Yun. You will pay the price for offending the divine world. Don't think that there's no one in the God world who can stop you. Today will be the last time you act so presumptuously here. If there's a next time, you'll end up like Ji Yun, completely annihilated. Facing the unruly Ji Feng, Night Sorrow coldly replied, "What? Did you kill my brother? Bastard, you deserve to die." Hearing Night Sorrow personally mention Ji Yun's matter, Ji Feng immediately flew into a rage and prepared to attack. Ji Feng's father's expression also changed greatly. They knew that Ji Yun had come to the divine world to poach. Otherwise, they wouldn't have come directly to the divine world to ask for him. Now that they heard that Ji Yun's soul had been annihilated, the father and son were completely enraged. What? You're unable to restrain your anger? I want to ask, if someone from the divine world poaches in your divine immortal territory, what will happen to them? Night Sorrow coldly questioned, then berated, "Let me tell you, the divine world is not something you can discriminate against. When we were glorious, you were trash. Now that we've fallen, you're also trash. There's nothing to be arrogant about. If you have the ability, then fight here. If not, then leave immediately. Don't think that we're easy to bully. So what if you're ranked in the top 1,000? You still have to participate in the second round. Bastard, you're courting death. I'll kill you." When Ji Feng heard Yishang's words, it was as if he had been set ablaze. He no longer looked as light as before. He immediately drew his long sword and prepared to attack. I advise you to be careful. Although the divine world isn't strong, it's not difficult to kill you. Supreme Phoenix Ancestor immediately berated Ji Feng when she saw that Ji Feng was about to attack Night Sorrow. Although Ji Feng's father was very strong, There were only 2 or 3 supreme beings from the divine immortal territory. The difference in strength between the two sides was huge. After night, sorrow berated them. The supreme beings of the divine world seemed to have been given a wake-up call. They instantly realized that there was no need for them to keep showing weakness. In the eternal supreme world, the only thing that could earn one's respect was strength in battle. Showing weakness would only make one be looked down upon even more. In an instant, the aura of the supreme beings was completely different. Good, good, very good. Let's see how you're going to resist the attack of the divine immortal territory after this battle. Father G looked at Supreme Phoenix with a gloomy face and said, "Don't think that we don't know that the strongest person in the divine world has been missing for many years. There's no need for you to worry about the affairs of the divine world. Our divine world has weathered great storms and waves and still hasn't been destroyed for a long time. It's not something that you can destroy just because you want to. Send the guests out." Supreme White Tiger, who hadn't spoken for a long time, also habitually kept silent. After Night Sorrow directly chose to fall out with the other party, he also stood up. In addition, the other supreme beings all released a strong fighting spirit. For a moment, the aura in the divine world's City Lord Mansion was unbearable for many sovereigns. Very good. Fona, let's go. You should already know what to do in the second round of the battle for Providence. Father G looked at his son G Fong and said with a murderous look, "Yes, Lord Father, your child will personally exterminate everyone in the divine realm. I won't give them a chance to struggle at death's door," Ji Feng said, then looked at Night Sorrow and said, "You, a divine king realm ant, had better not participate in the second round of the battle for Providence in a few years. Otherwise, even wanting to die will be an extravagant hope. I, Night Sorrow, hate people like you who don't have courage and insist on pretending to be a wolf. If you really have the guts, then make your move now. What are you afraid of?" Night Sorrow looked at Ji Feng and said indifferently, his body releasing an endless fighting spirit. He didn't fear the other party at all. Chapter 29:07. Bastard, I'm going to kill you. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Ji Feng could no longer control himself, and a strong battle intent rose around him. "If you want to kill me, then make your move. Do you think you can kill me with words?" A superior dominator doesn't even dare to make a move against the divine king, dilly-dallying here. "How despicable," said Yi Shang with a cold smile. Ji Feng looked overbearing, as if he was unrivaled in the world. He wanted Ji Feng to understand that there was no room for him to show off in the divine world. Night Sorrow would not back down at all for someone who challenged the dignity of the divine world. "Fine, make your move then. If the supremes of the divine world have any manners, then don't interfere in our battle," Ji Feng said as he took out a long sword from his spatial artifact. This long sword was different from ordinary swords. It was not made of metal, but the bones of some kind of desolate beast. It looked very simple and did not emit any brilliance, but it gave off a very dangerous feeling. It's a good sword, bloodthirsty and cold, but you're dragging your feet. You're not worthy of it. Night Sorrow saw Ji Feng's performance and sneered. "You're facing the divine king, and you're telling the supremes present not to make a move. Are you going to tell the divine world to withdraw their luck so that it won't bring you any backlash?" In terms of battle strength, Night Sorrow judged that if he used a half-step Supreme's artifact, he could definitely fight Ji Feng without any fear. He was trying to provoke him into making a move. He wanted to kill him in front of the divine world and boost the morale of the divine world. Right now, the divine world's morale was too weak. A mere Supremes could run amok here with their son. This was a complete disgrace. "Die, you ant. I, Ji Feng, don't believe that the Supremes of your trash territory will dare to make a move against me." Ji Feng was completely enraged by Night Sorrow's words. He disregarded everything and slashed at Night Sorrow. "Very good. It's good that you dare to make a move. There's no need for us to send out Supremes to kill you." Seeing Ji Feng attack, Night Sorrow immediately laughed. He kept provoking Ji Feng with his words so that he would attack. But this time, Ji Feng's father, Ji Junyang, directly blocked this move. He said, "A little impatience spoils great plans. Now that we're in the territory of the God Realm, we'll suffer the backlash of Providence if we act rashly. It won't be too late to attack them after the second round of the Battle of Providence begins. Yin will not die in vain." Father, Ji Feng, who was stopped, looked like an enraged, ferocious beast. You still can't tell? He is deliberately provoking you to attack so that he can defeat you with the help of Providence. If you make a move, you will fall into his trap. Seeing Ji Feng's state, Ji Junyang comforted him. Then he looked at Night Sorrow and said, "It seems like you're the only one in the entire God Realm. If you want to fight with Ji Feng, I'll fulfill your wish." As soon as he finished speaking, Ji Junyang left a mark on Night Sorrow and said, "This is a celestial immortal mark. If you participate in the second round of the Battle of Providence, Ji Feng will find you immediately. Lord Supreme, leave a mark on him too. This is fair." Night Sorrow knew that it was already impossible to kill Ji Feng today. Immediately, he had Supreme Ancestor Phoenix leave a mark on Ji Feng's body. Good. From today onwards, our territory of the God Realm will not yield an inch of land to any territory. Supreme Ancestor Phoenix snorted and left a God Realm mark on Ji Feng's body. This was something that others could not erase. After leaving the territory of the God Realm, you will all become complete trash. The mark on my body will be your death warrant. Ji Feng, who was planted with a God Realm mark, said disdainfully and left the territory of the God Realm with Ji Junyang. Just as they walked out of the City Lord Mansion, Ji Junyang sent a voice transmission to Ji Feng and said, "Don't underestimate that divine king. His strength shouldn't be below yours. Or rather, with the help of Providence, he has the confidence to kill you. Otherwise, he wouldn't have kept provoking you to attack." Father, he's just a divine king. How can he be my match? Ji Feng asked with a face of disbelief. It's not impossible for a divine king to kill a ruler. The territory of the God Realm was once glorious. Perhaps this divine king is the reincarnation of a genius. You must be careful when fighting with him. Is that clear? Ji Junyang said with a serious tone. As an outstanding figure among the Supremes, although he was not the #1 person in the territory of the Celestial Immortals, he had always been in a high position and had a much higher outlook than Ji Feng. Sometimes, it was easy for people to form a stereotype. For example, Ji Feng looked down on Night Sorrow, who was at the level of the Divine King. He did not think that Night Sorrow could fight with him at all. But Ji Junyang was not like that. "Yes, father, but no matter what, I will kill all of them and avenge my younger brother." At the mention of Ji Yun, Ji Feng's face was full of anger. The two of them grew up together and had a very good relationship. Of course we will kill them, but the appearance of this divine king ant is a wake-up call for us. Father will bring you to other territories. We're not the only ones who want to destroy the territory of the God Realm. That divine king ant is a victim of his own cleverness. Ji Junyang turned around and glanced at the City Lord's mansion in the City of the Gods as he said with a fake smile. Night Sorrow's performance had alerted him. He was prepared to join forces with the other territories and attack the territory of the God Realm together. Good. A lion will use its full strength even when hunting a rabbit. We will deal a fatal blow to the territory of the God Realm. As long as we kill all of them in the second round of the War for Providence, the territory of the God Realm will definitely be completely cut off. At that time, Ji Feng did not finish his words, but Ji Junyang clearly understood and nodded at him. At the same time, in the City Lord's mansion, many Supremes began to ask about Night Sorrow's cultivation. Night Sorrow's performance just now made them blush with shame. Everyone, including Supreme's Ancestral Phoenix, White Tiger, and Black Tortoise, began to reflect. The territory of the God Realm was too weak because of a lack of confidence. It was indeed not a good thing. Night Sorrow has successfully broken through to the Upper Divine King realm, but he is still a distance away from the Dominator realm. As for now, he lacks a top-notch movement technique. Also, it would be better if he could get some guidance on spear techniques. Night Sorrow explained his situation in detail. The movement technique he used was taught by Xiao Tianxian. His strength had already surpassed Xiao Tianxuan's, but he still used the dragon's swimming steps, which was obviously holding him back. Hearing this, Supreme's ancestral dragon immediately said, "Leave the movement technique to me." Silver Spear Supreme's Yang Tiansheng, who was not far from him, stood out and said, "Leave the spear to me." Chapter 2908. As Supreme Ancestral Dragon and Supreme Silver Spear spoke, the other Supremes didn't say much. Among the two Supremes, Supreme Ancestral Dragon's overall strength was very strong, but his strongest point was his movement technique, which wasn't inferior to the two Vice City Lords. As for Supreme Silver Spear, Yang Tiansheng, he was the only one among the Supremes who used a spear as a divine weapon. His understanding of the spear was incomparable to others. After that, Night Sorrow learned movement and spear techniques from the two Supremes. Although Supreme Ancestral Dragon and Supreme Silver Spear were slightly weaker than some of the Supremes in other territories, they were still lofty existences that godly kings and rulers could only look up to. They were more than enough to teach Night Sorrow. Soon, Night Sorrow learned a new movement technique, the Void Dragon movement technique. The Void Dragon movement technique was much stronger than the Black Sky Roaming Dragon art that Xiao Tianxian taught him. Its absolute speed was about 5 times faster, and the improvement was quite obvious. In addition, he also learned 2 new spear techniques from Yang Tiansheng. One was the Reincarnation Spear art that was improved by Supreme Silver Spear's guidance. The other was the Yang Clan Sky Splitting art that he learned from Yang Tiansheng. Yang Clan Sky Splitting art. Although the name sounded ordinary, its power was greater than Night Sorrow's Reincarnation Spear art. It was a considerable gain. At the same time, to prevent the half-step Supremes from being exposed too early, Night Sorrow created a Dominator Realm Silver Spear for himself. At this point, Night Sorrow felt that he was fully prepared. But at this time, the other Supremes began to give their gifts. Talismans, pills, secret treasures, formation materials, and so on. They were not stingy at all. This time, to the realm of the gods, it was a battle with their backs against the wall. The Supremes had basically taken out all their wealth. Thank you for your gifts, Supremes. Night Sorrow will distribute these items to everyone. I hope that we can amaze the world with a single brilliant feat in this battle for Providence. Night Sorrow was very encouraged by the unity of the realm of the gods. Before coming to the realm of the gods and interacting with others, he was told that some sovereigns and Supremes were not easy to get along with, and there were also problems with their character. But at this moment, it seemed that everyone's attention was on them, and nothing disharmonious happened. As Supremes, it was impossible for them not to covet supreme materials, just like the sovereigns in the realm of the gods, Supremes. However, everyone controlled themselves and allowed Heavenly Treasure Sovereign to forge all the supreme materials Yi Shang had taken out into half-supreme divine artifacts. Night Sorrow, while you're learning the sky-splitting tactics, the others have already gathered in Ping and City. Go with them to the location of the Battle of Providence. The Silver Spear Paragon, Yang Tiansheng, said after Night Sorrow thanked the various paragons. To participate in the Battle of Providence, one did not need to go to other territories. One only needed to teleport from Ping and City to the competition venue at the specified time. Supremes is this. Okay, I got it. Night Sorrow responded and headed to Supremes. Night Sorrow met up with the Supremes in Supremes. Then, they went to the teleportation formation in Supremes and waited for it to open. While waiting, Night Sorrow distributed the resources given by the Supremes to everyone. Other than Night Sorrow, Myriad Sword Sect, Xiao Tianxian, Shui Changtun, Murong Jinlu, Yuan Fengxue, and the other strengths had all increased. Other than the 5 he knew, there were 3 others, Nie Zhonglin, Yang Qing, and Jin Xian. Because there were too many sovereigns in the Eternal Supreme's world, it was not surprising at all. Therefore, no one called themselves sovereigns, and they all called each other by their names. Among those present, Myriad Sword Sect and Shao Tianxian had already reached upper sovereigns. Shui Changtian, Murong Jinlu, Yuan Fengxue, and Nie Zhonglin were all intermediate sovereigns. Yangqing and Jinxian were both peak lower sovereigns. With such a lineup, Night Sorrow, a half-step Supreme's artifact, and a large amount of resources, their strength was much stronger than in the first round. Everyone felt more confident. Night Sorrow did not participate in the first round, so he did not know how the War of Providence was carried out. While waiting, he asked, "Everyone, you've all participated in the last War of Providence. Can you tell me how the War of Providence is carried out?" The rules are very simple. That is, all the people in the territories will be teleported to an ancient battlefield until there are 1,200 territories left. If there is still no result after 100 years, then the territories with fewer people will be eliminated. Myriad Sword Sect sighed when he heard Night Sorrow's question. In the first round of the War of Providence, 2 sovereigns of the divine world had fallen. They did not even have time to crush their nameplates before they were killed. After helping Night Sorrow explain, they could crush their nameplates to save themselves. Myriad Sword Sect continued, "The number of people in our territories is not the least, but it's about the same. Therefore, in the second round of the War of Providence, we will be in a passive position. Only by continuously eliminating other territories will we have a chance to survive until the end. 100 years should be enough." Night Sorrow thought for a moment, then continued, "When we enter the ancient battlefield, we will try not to use our half-step Supreme's artifacts as much as possible to avoid exposing ourselves. Our ultimate goal is to rush into the top 1,000 of the War of Providence, or even obtain a higher ranking. For the second round, it's best to hide some of our strength. If we use our half-step Supreme's artifacts, then we must do our best to kill our opponents. We must not let anyone leak the information of our half-step Supreme's artifacts." Shao Tianxian added. He was even more decisive than Night Sorrow. "We are clear that our half-step Supreme's artifacts are of great importance. If they're exposed, we might be besieged. We will not use them easily." Murong Jinlu and the others spoke one after another. Even a Supreme's might not necessarily have a half-step Supreme's artifacts. In the divine world, every sovereign had one. If they were exposed, it would definitely cause a commotion. "Time's up. You all can go now." Just as everyone was talking, the golden crow outside the city suddenly spoke. "Everyone, be careful. We might encounter people from other territories when we land. Be prepared. Let's go." When the teleportation formation lit up, Myriad Sword Sect's battle intent was released. He took out his artifacts and reminded everyone to be careful. Then everyone, including Night Sorrow, took out their artifacts and walked into the teleportation formation. They disappeared into the light pillars. I hope that you all can obtain supreme fortune for the divine world. It's us Supremes who are useless, unable to protect the foundation of our predecessors. After Night Sorrow and the others disappeared into the light pillars, the golden crow sitting outside Peace City muttered. Chapter 2909. The Paragon Golden Crow sighed helplessly. It wasn't that the Paragon Golden Crow didn't work hard, but the suppression of the realm of the gods was too severe. The territory of the god world wasn't so bad, as it could be used to nurture sovereigns. However, as autarchs, as soon as they ran into the sovereign space, they would be hunted down and killed. This also made it difficult for the paragons of the realm of the gods to survive in the supreme space. It was difficult for them to become a true powerhouse. Even the missing city lord was weaker than the peerless powerhouses of the other large territories. The Paragon Golden Crow sincerely hoped that someone in the realm of the gods could become a true powerhouse and restore the glory of the realm of the gods. Just as the Paragon Golden Crow was thinking, Night Sorrow and the Myriad Sword Sect had arrived at the venue of the Battle of Providence. They appeared in the middle of a blood-red ocean. This boundless blood-red ocean had no end in sight. The 9 of them flew above the void and could smell the thick stench of blood. This proved that the blood-red ocean below was likely made of real blood. Night Sorrow, where do you think we should go? After flying for about 4 hours, The boundless ocean was still in front of them. The Myriad Sword sect was a little impatient and asked Night Sorrow. In their hearts, Night Sorrow was their backbone, even though his cultivation level was the lowest. At this time, Night Sorrow had used the sea serpent's eye to observe the surroundings. In a blood-red ocean, there were many corpses. These corpses were unrecognizable, but they could tell that they were giants or ferocious beasts. They didn't belong to any of the territories today. They should be creatures from ancient times that went extinct in the war. The corpses below are all giants or ferocious beasts. This blood should be from them. It's a little scary. As for the void, there's nothing. It looks similar to the eternal supreme space. However, it seems that the distance between the planets is closer. After observing for a while, Night Sorrow explained the situation in front of them. He continued, I can't see anything further. In my opinion, we should just keep moving forward. If there's no other way, that's the only way. We'll leave marks along the way and keep moving forward. Xiao Tianxian nodded and said, there's no other way. Although it was very surprising that they had landed in such a place, it was still the second round of the Battle of Providence. If they didn't encounter anyone from other territories, they would have a full 100 years. At this moment, Yuan Fengxue, who had just heard Night Sorrow's words, said somewhat apprehensively, let's fly a little higher. I keep feeling that this blood sea is very unbearable. The laws and essence of this blood have already dispersed, but some evil aura still exists. That's why everyone feels uncomfortable. If I release my power of virtue, it will be much better. As he spoke, Night Sorrow released his power of merit and surrounded them. Surrounded by the power of virtue, Yuan Fengxue and the others' palpitations completely disappeared. For the rest of the journey, they advanced cautiously. However, for a full 20 days, they had been wandering above the Blood Sea. They could not see any land at all, not even a small island where they could land. Isn't this a little strange? Could it be that the surface of the celestial body we're on is covered in blood? Myriad Sword sect frowned and said anxiously, the key is that this blood water is useless. It's useless for us to stay here. You can't think like that. On the bright side, we'll encounter a bitter battle before we land. We have plenty of time to prepare. After Yishang's persuasion, he suddenly stopped. Using the sea serpent's eye to carefully observe the surroundings, he saw an ancient teleportation array at the bottom of the sea nearby. There were no corpses within 100 miles of this teleportation array. He immediately pointed below and said, everyone, I see a teleportation array. I don't know if it's useful or where it leads. Should we go down and give it a try? There's a teleportation array? Of course we have to try. No matter what, it's better than staying in this place. Myriad Sword sect, who was originally very anxious, immediately became spirited when he heard this. The others, including Murong Jinlu, also agreed. They didn't want to stay here any longer. Since everyone agrees to give it a try, I'll go down first. Why don't I go down alone to investigate? If there's no danger, you can follow me. How about it? Yishang asked when he saw that everyone was willing to go down. He was afraid that there would be danger in the sea of blood. If everyone went down together, they would encounter trouble. No, Night Sorrow is the backbone of our heavenly realm territory. We can't take the risk. How about this? I'll go. Without waiting for the others to speak, Xiao Tianxian spoke first. Hearing this, Myriad Sword sect nodded and said, yes, you or I can go, but Night Sorrow can't go. We can't risk him. Don't worry, I won't fall so easily. Otherwise, I wouldn't be where I am today. Only I can use the power of merit to protect my body, so it's the most suitable to go down and investigate. Night Sorrow shook his head and said, it was indeed dangerous for him to go down, but it was obviously more dangerous for others to go down. Then, amidst everyone's objections, Night Sorrow condensed the charm of the power of merit and dived into the sea of blood. Why is the view in the sea of blood different from above? Although the sea serpent's eye had been open, Night Sorrow had just dived into the sea of blood and found that the things inside were different from the outside. Originally, he was looking from the void and saw that there were no corpses around the teleportation array. But when he dived below the sea level, he found that the teleportation array did exist, but the distance was obviously farther than what he saw above. It was about a few dozen miles away. Around the teleportation array, there were more than 10 floating corpses. There were ferocious beasts and giants. These corpses looked similar to what he saw above, but when he was close, there would be a strong pressure that made him feel very uncomfortable. Knight Sorrow swam towards the teleportation array, wanting to see how strong the pressure was. But as he swam, he completely found something strange. Logically speaking, with his speed, even in the sea of blood, he could cover a distance of a few dozen miles very quickly. But after swimming for about a few dozen breaths, Knight Sorrow found that when he looked at the teleportation array, it still looked like a few dozen miles. It's a little strange down there. Let's think of another way. After discovering that something was wrong, Knight Sorrow transmitted his voice to everyone and immediately swam upstream. Chapter 29:10. The tiger-shaped beast corpse opened its dim blood-red eyes. Knight Sorrow felt his heart skip a beat. The tiger-shaped beast in front of him had been dead for many years, and its laws and essence had all dissipated. However, after opening its eyes, it gave off a huge pressure. This proved that the tiger-shaped beast must have been very powerful when it was alive, at least at the supreme level. Kill! In an instant, the tiger-shaped beast corpse did not roar. However, Knight Sorrow could feel a clear, killing intent. His first thought was to fly above the sea level of the blood-red sea. However, after swimming for a while, he realized that he did not change his position at all. No matter how he swam, he stayed in place. Meanwhile, the tiger-shaped beast corpse was getting closer and closer in the blood water. It was obvious that the tiger-shaped beast corpse had turned into a blood corpse and was ready to attack him. I know that you must have been a terrifying existence when you were alive. But now that you're dead and turned into a blood corpse, you don't have the capital to roam freely. Since he could not swim in the blood water, Knight Sorrow did not plan to escape. He directly took out the Dominator artifact and blasted a spear at the blood corpse. This spear was guided by the Silver Spear Paragon Yang Tiansheng's reincarnation spear technique. However, Knight Sorrow did not turn himself into a spear. Boom! After Knight Sorrow's attack, the bloody water immediately surged up. The Silver Dominator spear emitted an extreme light and shot at the blood corpse. Strangely, Knight Sorrow's voice could not be transmitted out of the blood sea. He could not swim out, but his battle was not affected at all. An explosive sound came from the sea, and thousands of waves were stirred up. It immediately attracted the attention of Myriad Sword's sect and the others. Charge! We can't let Knight Sorrow face this crisis alone, Xiao Tianxian said as the 10,000 Swords sect looked at the crowd, then charged into the Blood Sea. Let's go. Our God Realm territory must unite and form a fist. Xiao Tianxian had already jumped down. Myriad Sword sect said to everyone and jumped into the Blood Sea. Then, Morong Zhenlu also jumped down. Since so many of them had already jumped down, the others also jumped down without hesitation. The moment they jumped, no matter where they entered the sea, they would appear beside Knight Sorrow. This place is very mysterious. You can only enter but not leave. Furthermore, there are blood corpses guarding it. I think this is a checkpoint. Only by killing the blood corpses can we move on. However, this blood corpse body is extremely tough. It won't be easy to deal with. Knight Sorrow's attack had successfully landed on the blood corpse body, but it did not leave any wounds on its body, which surprised him. At the same time, he thought about what had happened in the Blood Sea. He felt that everything in front of him should be the same kind of mode used to clear a trial. Only by defeating the blood corpses would he be able to get close to the teleportation portal, or in other words, leave. Since we are in the middle of the Blood Sea, no one will be able to see us. Why don't we use our half-paragon divine artifacts? What do you all think? The Myriad Sword sect was well aware of Yishang's strength. If he said that the blood corpse's body was tough, then it meant that they wouldn't be able to threaten it even if they used ordinary sovereign rank artifacts. They might as well make a prompt decision and use their half-step sovereign rank artifacts. There should be a way, but we don't have much time to think about it. In the Blood Sea, Yuan Shi will be consumed very quickly. Everyone, don't hesitate and use your half-paragon divine artifacts. After the 10,000 Swords sect spoke, Yi Shang also spoke. They could not communicate with each other on the surface of the Blood Sea, but they could communicate freely in the Blood Sea. This made him even more certain that the environment in front of him was man-made. It was equivalent to a trial. I'm not sure. What kind of trial did the other territories face? As the only woman present, Yuan Fengxue was more meticulous than the others. When she took out her half-paragon divine artifact, she could not help but snort. There will probably be a trial, but the strength will definitely be different. The environment in front of us is so disgusting, and the blood corpse in front of us is extremely terrifying. It will probably be the most difficult trial. Xiao Tianxian, who is already fighting with the blood corpse, said his judgment. Ever since the Horn Race Paragon sacrificed himself to summon those scenes, everyone knew that the other territories were targeting the deity realm. This time, the deity realm had advanced to the second round for the first time. The scene in front of them was very likely the doing of some of the other territories. Yes, someone is definitely targeting the deity realm. In the first round, although the place we arrived at was bad, it shouldn't be like this. After Xiao Tianxian finished speaking, Myriad Sword Sect also complained unhappily. Although they did not have any evidence, they could vaguely feel that someone was deliberately targeting the deity realm. That was why they were sent to such a disgusting and uncomfortable place. We'll deal with it when the time comes. Let's defeat the blood corpse first. Taking out the half-paragon divine artifact, Golden Heavenly Halberd, Night Sorrow cooperated with Xiao Tianxian and suddenly blasted a spear at the blood corpse in front of them. The blood corpse's body was very strong, but its speed was not fast. Under Xiao Tianxuan's restraint, Night Sorrow successfully blasted the blood corpse back. Although he did not use his ultimate skill, Night Sorrow had already used all his strength. However, he only managed to pierce the blood corpse's skin. It was easy to imagine the toughness of the body of the blood corpse that the tiger beast had transformed into. If it weren't for the half-paragon divine artifact in hand, I'm afraid that with their strength, they wouldn't even be able to pierce the blood corpse skin, let alone fight it. Someone is definitely targeting the deity realm. After a while, Myriad Sword Sect complained. According to their normal strength, although they would not be killed by the slow-moving blood corpse, they would definitely not be able to hurt it. In that case, the few of them would definitely be trapped in the Blood Sea. If they did not crush the identity plate that was formed after entering the ancient battlefield, they would have to wait for 100 years to leave. 100 years to pass in the filthy Blood Sea before them. It was disgusting just thinking about it. Continue attacking. The blood corpse in front of us is about to die. Night Sorrow did not have any distractions in his mind as he continued to attack the blood corpse. Under everyone's joint attack, the blood corpse gradually could not hold on. Little by little, it was pierced with large and small wounds. Without intelligence, it could only rely on its instincts to fight. Moreover, its movement was relatively slow, so it was not much of a threat to the group. About 2 hours later, the blood corpse was completely defeated and its body uncontrollably sank to the bottom of the sea. Luckily, it's a blood corpse without intelligence, so it's not much of a threat to us. If it was someone with strong combat skills, with its tough body, it would be really hard to deal with. After defeating the blood corpse, Morong Jinlu heaved a sigh of relief. Chapter 2911. What I said really comes true. Morong had just finished speaking when he saw 2 blood corpses charging towards them from the position of the formation. One of the blood corpses was a flood dragon with 2 horns on its head, and the other was a fallen giant ape. Their speed was 4 to 5 times faster than the defeated giant tiger beast, and they did not look as sluggish as the giant tiger beast. There seemed to be a trace of intelligence in their lifeless eyes. Roar! When the 2-horned flood dragon got close to Yishang and the others, it let out a roar and immediately attacked Yangqing, who was the weakest among them. As for the other giant ape, it roared ferociously and attacked the weaker Gold Xian cultivator. The attacks of the two blood corpses seemed to be somewhat methodical. Yang Qing and Jin Xian, who were being attacked, immediately panicked. Yang Qing used the half-step Supreme Divine Artifact to block the attacks and shouted, "Brother Yi, Brother Wan, save me!" Apparently, he was frightened by the Flood Dragon with two horns on its head. Don't be afraid. No matter how strong the enemy is, you must stay true to your heart. If you have fear in your heart, your combat power will be greatly reduced. Night Sorrow, who also felt that the two blood corpses were not easy to deal with, reminded them loudly. At the same time, he activated the 33 Heavens secret combat technique and attacked the Flood Dragon with the Yang Sky splitting art. Originally, he thought that he could use this move in the final round of the Battle of Providence. He did not expect that he would need to use it as soon as he arrived at the ancient battlefield. Boom! After Night Sorrow used the Yang Sky splitting art, his speed instantly soared. He held the golden heavenly halberd and directly attacked the Flood Dragon with two horns on its head. The Blood Corpse Flood Dragon, which was attacking Yang Qing, was attacked by Night Sorrow and was immediately injured. It shook its huge head and attacked Night Sorrow. Obviously, it already had a trace of a beast's instinct. Basically, it would attack the person who injured it first. Good chance. I will hold back the Flood Dragon, and the rest of you deal with the giant ape. Help me again. Seeing that the Blood Corpse Jiao Dragon was attacking him, Night Sorrow immediately reminded the others to deal with the giant ape holding up the sky. Brother Yi, don't worry. We will kill the heaven-raising ape as soon as possible. Master Wan Jian, who had already helped Jin Xian fend off the giant ape, immediately roared. Although Xiao Tianxian did not say anything, he had already unleashed his strongest attack on the heaven-raising ape. As for the others, there was no need to even mention them. They were completely prepared to fight with their lives on the line. They were clear that the dangerous situation before them had to be resolved through risking their lives. The people of the heavenly realm had definitely been cheated by someone this time. Otherwise, he would not have encountered such a difficult blood corpse. While the others were trying their best to fend off the towering ape, the WRM that Night Sorrow had injured had already engaged him in battle. Night Sorrow had been able to handle the tiger-shaped blood corpse with ease earlier. However, the WRM before him was a different story. Although the WRM in front of him did not have much spiritual intelligence, and most of the time, it relied on its instincts to fight. However, its strength was even slightly stronger than the golden demonic rocks. If Night Sorrow had not advanced to the upper Divine King realm, he might not have been able to contend with it, even with a half-step Supreme Divine Artifact in hand. Jiao shakes the 9 heavens. However, just as Night Sorrow and the Blood Corpse Jiao Dragon were locked in a stalemate, something happened that surprised him. The Blood Corpse Jiao Dragon that had been fighting with brute force suddenly roared in human language. Jiao shakes the 9 heavens. Then, it unleashed a ferocious, unique skill. In the sea of blood, it turned into a 9-headed WRM. Each of the 9 heads spat out a type of flame at Night Sorrow. When the 9 types of flames were spat out, the sea of blood around them began to boil. It looked extremely terrifying. Void Dragon Movement Technique. Facing the 9 terrifying flames, Night Sorrow immediately unleashed the Void Dragon Movement Technique that the Ancestral Dragon had taught him. After unleashing it, he immediately changed his position and appeared behind the Blood Corpse Jiao Dragon. 9 dragons burning the sky. After Night Sorrow dodged the attack, the Blood Corpse Jiao Dragon roared again. This time, its 9 heads all left its body and surrounded Night Sorrow, spitting out flames again. The 9 types of flames it spat out were several times more terrifying than the previous WIRM, shaking the 9 heavens. Immediately, a sense of crisis rose in Night Sorrow's heart. Divine Origin Trap Array. Merit Trap Array. Yang Sky Splitting Art. Night Sorrow judged from the eye of the Sea Serpent that he would not be able to dodge the attack with the Void Dragon Movement Technique. Therefore, he set up a Divine Origin Trap Array and a Merit Trap Array around him to resist the flames. He also unleashed the strongest spear that he had mastered, the Yang Sky Splitting Art. Although the Yang Sky Splitting Art only had one move, its variations were endless. Every time it was unleashed, it would be different. This time, Night Sorrow stabbed out 9 times consecutively. These 9 spears were aimed at the 9 heads of the blood corpse Jiao Dragon. After the 9 dragons burning the sky broke through the Divine Origin Trap Array and the Merit Trap Array, the 9 spears pierced through the flames and bombarded the 9 heads. As for the flames that the blood corpse Jiao Dragon shot out, Night Sorrow used the Merit Divine Domain and his extremely strong body to resist them. When the 9 types of flames spat out by the blood corpse Jiao Dragon burned Night Sorrow's body, his 9 spears smashed the 9 heads of the blood corpse Jiao Dragon. After a few muffled sounds, the blood corpse Jiao Dragon sank into the depths of the blood sea like the defeated tiger-shaped blood corpse. Great! Brother Night Sorrow is indeed blessed by the gods. You actually managed to kill the blood corpse Jiao Dragon with your own strength. On the other side, the battle was still ongoing. Murong Jinlu, who happened to notice Night Sorrow killing the blood corpse Jiao Dragon, immediately roared. But at this moment, Master Wan Jian roared, "Jinlu, be careful." Originally, when Murong Jinlu looked at Night Sorrow, the giant ape seized the opportunity and directly slapped his chest. It's over. By the time Murong Jinlu reacted, it was already too late. He could no longer dodge the giant ape's attack. In the battle just now, everyone already knew that the giant ape was an existence that was born with divine strength. In terms of strength, it should not be inferior to any dominator. Murong Jinlu's heart sank like the sea. Merit Trap Array. In a moment of desperation, Night Sorrow did not care about his own injuries and immediately used the Merit Trap Array on the giant ape. Time was of the essence. He did not have time to use 2 trap arrays at the same time. Boom! After Night Sorrow used the Merit Trap Array, the giant ape's huge palm immediately slammed on the wall of the sealed space, immediately shattering the sealed space. However, Murong Jinlu managed to avoid the disaster. Brother Yi, this giant ape in front of us seems to be getting stronger as it fights. Also, its intelligence seems to be gradually recovering. If your injuries are not serious, quickly come and help. At this time, Master Wan Jian, who was clearly feeling a little strain, shouted. Genius remembered this site's address in a second. Human mobile version reading website. Chapter 2912. Obviously, the sky-propping ape was not easy to deal with. The sky-propping ape is so strong. Night Sorrow was surprised to hear Master 10,000 Swords exclamation. After all, he defeated the blood corpse WYRM on his own. However, after fighting with the sky-propping ape, he realized that it was indeed powerful. Its intelligence was recovering more and more during the battle. Its body was growing bigger and bigger, as if it had turned into a mountain. Its combat skills were also improving, and it was becoming more and more of a threat to everyone. Moreover, everyone, including Night Sorrow, could not use the divine weapons in their hands to directly injure the sky-propping ape. Although it had lost all of its laws and essence, its defense was still terrifying without a festering corpse. Everyone be careful. Keep it busy while I think of a countermeasure. After fighting with the sky-propping ape for a while, Night Sorrow came up with a countermeasure. He knew that it was not a good idea to continue fighting like this. If the sky-propping ape's strength continued to grow, they would not be able to stop it. Brother Yi, I have a countermeasure, but it's a little risky. At this moment, Master 10,000 Swords suddenly said, I think the sky-propping ape's body is as hard as 10,000-year-old cold iron. It's impossible to break through. Why don't we enter its body through its mouth and break it from the inside? What do you think? Enter the sky-propping ape's body through its mouth? I'll think about it. Master 10,000 Swords' suggestion was beyond Night Sorrow's imagination. It was an extremely risky choice. While observing the sky-propping ape, he also thought about the feasibility of the suggestion. There are traces of sword chi under the sky-propping ape's armpits. It was probably killed by this sword chi. Let's be patient and attack its armpits. Knight Sorrow, who was observing the sky-propping ape with the sea serpent's eye, was originally thinking about whether to take the risk and enter its mouth. However, he unexpectedly found that there were traces of sword chi under the sky-propping ape's armpits. Okay, I don't believe that it's really invulnerable. After hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Xiao Tianxian immediately raised the quasi-supreme divine weapon in his hand, the Tianxian Bao, looking for the right time to shoot. Murong Jinlu, Yang Qing, and the others understood tacitly and restrained the giant ape. He told it to wave its arms and fight as much as possible, exposing the holes under its armpits. His armpits were covered by green fur. If it weren't for Knight Sorrow's sea serpent eye that could see through illusions, he definitely wouldn't have discovered this. Oh, when Xiao Tianxian found the opportunity to use the Tianxian arrow to pierce through the giant ape's armpits, it immediately looked up to the sky and howled in pain. Although the giant ape had already turned into a bloody corpse, the wound that had killed it could not be ignored. This wound had clearly left an indelible mark on his body. This is a good opportunity. Let's all attack and try to kill him. Seeing that Xiao Tianxuan's arrow was effective, the Thousand Swords Master's eyes flashed, and he rushed towards the heaven-raising ape's armpit. Great immortal sword art! Seizing the opportunity, he merged himself with the half-supreme divine artifact and turned into a giant sword, piercing through the heaven-raising ape's armpits. This is indeed a good opportunity. The heaven-raising ape seems to have been completely suppressed by the wound that killed it. Let's cut the Gordian knot. Kill! Knight Sorrow, who had activated the Sea Serpent Eye, saw the sword chi runes flashing under the heaven-raising ape's armpits. This rune was definitely not something that the Thousand Swords Master could use. He knew that this was most likely the heaven-raising ape's armpits that everyone was attacking together. This time, the sword chi from back then was activated. Brother Yi, not only is your combat strength amazing, but your ability to break the stalemate is also unquestionable. I'm impressed. Jin Xin couldn't help but admire Knight Sorrow's insight during the process of attacking the heaven-raising ape. Brother Jin Xin, you flatter me. I've only learned a kind of my technique by chance. After discovering the heaven-raising ape's weakness, it became easier for everyone to kill it. Knight Sorrow also relaxed a lot. However, during the process of the battle, he had been observing the sword chi that killed the heaven-raising ape. The heaven-raising ape had been killed for God knows how many years. The laws and essence on its body had already dissipated, but the runes in the sword chi had not dissipated. This proved that the person who attacked back then was very powerful and had a peerless appearance. It's all thanks to Brother Ye's ability to see through heaven's secrets. Otherwise, we would have definitely been in a tough battle. After the heaven-raising ape sank down, Murong Zizhen smiled and said with a relaxed smile, "In the battle just now, he had experienced several dangerous situations, but they were all resolved by everyone. At this moment, he could finally breathe a sigh of relief. The only female cultivator present, Yuan Fengxue, didn't look good. She wasn't used to the aura of the Blood Sea at all. After going through a tough battle, her condition was even worse. Yuan Fengxue, I see that you're not in a good condition. Why don't you enter my space grotto heaven to rest? What do you think?" Knight Sorrow, who had noticed Yuan Fengxue's condition, immediately said. At this moment, not only did Yuan Fengxue's complexion not look good, but her aura was also not right. Her condition was very bad. Okay, then, I'll have to trouble Brother Yi. Although Yuan Fengxue didn't want to be a deserter, she felt so uncomfortable that she wanted to vomit. She really couldn't muster up any strength. It's okay. It's only right for us to take care of each other. This is a poison cleansing pill, a gift from Supreme Ancestor Phoenix. After you enter the space grotto heaven, immediately take it. Knight Sorrow kept Yuan Fengxue into the space grotto heaven and handed him a pill. He felt that Yuan Fengxue's condition seemed to be poisoned. Thank you, Brother Yi, for your care. After Yuan Fengshui took the pill, he looked at Myriad Sword Sect and said, "If you encounter a battle again, don't be too stubborn." "Okay, I promise you." Myriad Sword Sect glanced at Yuan Fengshui and nodded lightly. He could naturally see that Yuan Fengshui had an unusual concern for him. After Yuan Fengshui entered the space grotto heaven, Knight's Sorrow continued, "Let's go forward and see if we can enter the teleportation array." "Okay, this time it's my turn to explore," Xiao Tianxian responded and took the lead to swim in front. However, after swimming for a long time, he was still very far away from the teleportation array. He said in surprise, "It seems that the teleportation array in the distance can't be approached. Everyone, pay attention. It's very likely that there's still a battle." The situation that Xiao Tianxian encountered was exactly the same as what he had faced before. Night Sorrow guessed that they had not completely passed the test. As Night Sorrow's voice fell, the corpse of an ancient giant near the teleportation array turned into a blood corpse and attacked. Everyone, who had relaxed a little, tensed up again and fought with it, while Night Sorrow and the rest were fighting with the blood corpse ancient giant. On the star closest to the blood star, Ji Feng and the people of the celestial immortal territory were observing the blood star's movements. Behind him were more than 20 sovereign realm cultivators. Chapter 29:13. It was obvious that they were here to represent celestial immortals territory in the second round. In the previous battle for Providence, celestial immortals territory was ranked 2150. They were still very strong. The 20 or so sovereigns before them were only half of their strength. The other 20 or so had already gone to other celestial bodies under the lead of another genius. In the second round of the battle for Providence, each of the thousands of territories would descend on a celestial body. The celestial world's people were not aware of this at all. Even their warships were not prepared. Because the celestial world's territory had not advanced to the second round for many years, they were not aware of the rules. Young Master Feng, since the celestial bodies of the celestial world's people descended on were arranged by our Lord, they shouldn't be able to escape, right? Why not let them perish on their own? An upper-level sovereign beside Ji Feng asked, puzzled. The blood-red celestial body is indeed the most unbearable celestial body in the second round of the battle for Providence. There have been more than 10 battles for Providence, and the teams that descended on the blood-red celestial body will be completely trapped. However, this young master's goal is not to trap them. I want to trap them there and wait for us to slaughter them. Ji Feng's expression was sinister. His younger brother, Ji Yun, had gone missing in the celestial world's territory. When he went to the celestial world's territory to ask for his brother, he was intimidated by Night Sorrow and did not dare to make a move. This time, his father had used some tricks to make the celestial world's people descend on the infamous blood-red celestial body. He felt that he had to make a move no matter what. Otherwise, his Tao heart would definitely shatter. Yes, young Master Feng, we are on standby. The sovereigns behind Ji Feng all stood up and answered. Good. Very good. We'll wait for them to exhaust themselves a bit more before making a move. The blood-red celestial body is not something that trash like them can easily break through. We are not in a hurry. Ji Feng's body was full of killing intent. Although he could not see what was happening on the blood-red celestial body, he could feel the energy fluctuations there and knew that the celestial world's people were fighting. At this time, Night Sorrow and the others were indeed fighting. At this point, their battle with the blood corpse primordial giant had reached its climax. Night Sorrow, master of 10,000 swords, and Xiao Tianxian had already unleashed their full power. Only then were they barely able to hold their own against the blood corpse primordial giant. Even after fighting for a while, Night Sorrow did not find any fatal wounds on the blood corpse primordial giant. Hence, the moves he used on the blood corpse ape were not effective. Brother Yi, what should we do? If this stalemate continues, we will consume a large number of pills, but it doesn't seem to be consuming anything at all. And even if we could defeat it, there might be other blood corpses. Master Wan Jian roared helplessly after swallowing the third pill. Facing the ancient blood corpse giant before him, He truly felt that he had done his best. Furthermore, the other people from the divine realm had to use all of their abilities to barely be able to fight the blood corpse ancient giant to a draw. No one was injured, but they had been tense all the time, and this feeling was very tiring. Yes, we have already unleashed our full power, and we have already exceeded our limits, but we still can't defeat it. Now we need to think of a way to deal with it. Xiao Tianxian also shouted. The blood corpse primordial giant's strength was shocking, and its fighting skills were obviously stronger than the other blood corpses. It was very difficult to deal with. Everyone felt as if they were lifting an unbearable mountain. If they kept lifting it, there would be a time when they could no longer lift it, but if they put it down, they would be crushed to death. From the looks of it, there are only two ways. One is for you to stall it, and I will try to set up a formation. While fighting against the blood corpse primordial giant, Knight Sorrow shouted, the other way is for us to practice the spell of combination during the battle. Spell of combination? Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Master of 10,000 Swords asked doubtfully, is it a method where everyone cooperates to attack the opponent? The more people there are, the harder it is to practice the spell of combination. We can form 3 groups of 3 people. During the process of practice, you must be careful. I will tell you what to do next. After Knight Sorrow answered, he used telepathy to teach the spell of combination to everyone. So that's how it is. If we succeed, our strength will definitely increase qualitatively. This method of fighting together is much easier than setting up a formation. Let's give it a try. Master of 10,000 Swords, who was originally in despair, immediately became spirited after Knight Sorrow took out the spell of combination. He shouted, Brother Yi, Brother Xiao, and I will be in a group. Feng Shui, Guide, and Chang Tian will be in a group. Nie Zhonglin, Yang Qing, and Jin Xian will be in a group. While everyone is practicing, you must pay attention to your own safety. After they were divided into groups, Master of 10,000 Swords continued, Brother Yi, Brother Xiao, and I will work together to restrain the blood corpse primordial giant. You all just need to be responsible for attacking. Is everyone okay? No problem. No problem. After everyone answered, they began to spread out according to the spell of combination. Knight Sorrow, Xiao Tianxian, and Master of 10,000 Swords were in charge of restraining the blood corpse primordial giant and resisting its attacks. Therefore, they were in the most dangerous position. It was difficult to fully practice the spell of combination. However, Shui Chang Tian, Yuan Feng Shui, and Muron Guide were under a lot of pressure. They usually had a good relationship with each other. Therefore, their tacit understanding was very high. Not long after, they successfully mastered the spell of combination, and their strength increased greatly. Although Nie Zhonglin, Yang Qing, and Jin Xian were not very strong, they were after all dominators. After a while, they also mastered the spell of combination. After the 2 groups mastered the spell of combination, the heavenly world's people's combat strength increased several times. Not long after, they successfully killed the blood corpse primordial giant. As the blood corpse primordial giant lost control and sank to the bottom of the sea, the heavenly world's people revealed victorious smiles. In order to cooperate with Shui Chang Tian and Muron Guide, Yuan Feng Shui, who came out of Knight Sorrow's space grotto heaven, looked much better. She said with lingering fear, Luckily, Brother Ye's spell of combination came in time. Otherwise, we would still be fighting the blood corpse primordial giant, and the first to fall would be us. Yeah, Brother Yi, you're truly a heaven-shaking genius. With you here, our heavenly world's people will not have to worry about not rising. Jin Xian also complimented. He was very impressed with Knight Sorrow's ability. As for the others, they were also very impressed with Knight Sorrow. However, before Master of 10,000 Swords and Xiao Tianxian and the others could say anything, they saw a 9-tailed celestial fox that had turned into a blood corpse primordial giant charging towards them. F*CK. Is there an end to this? They had been fighting for a long time and had not had a chance to rest. Master of 10,000 Swords could not help but curse when he saw another blood corpse primordial giant. Forget it. Since it's here, Let's take it as it comes. The three of us. We can use it to practice our spell of combination. Chapter 29:14. The blood corpses near the teleportation formation were resurrected one by one. Night Sorrow felt that if they wanted to leave through the teleportation formation, they would have to defeat all the blood corpses near the formation. There were still 8 blood corpses near the teleportation formation, which meant that there was still an extremely difficult battle to fight. That was definitely going to be a bitter battle. Night Sorrow felt that he, Myriad Sword Sect, and Xiao Tianxian needed to quickly master the spell formation, otherwise they would not be able to hold on in the following battles. Good. Brother Yi, you've really thought it through. Thousand Swords Master said, then shouted, Brother Xiao, come. The two of us will cooperate with Brother Yi and perform the spell formation. He will be the leader. Good. We will cooperate with him. Speaking of which, Xiao Tianxian was definitely Night Sorrow Sr., but in the Eternal Supreme Realm he did not put on airs and was very easygoing. Ninth Heaven Charm Saint Art. While everyone was studying the battle strategy, the Blood Corpse Nine-Tailed Celestial Fox suddenly let out an extremely seductive voice and then performed the spell of charm. In an instant, the sea of blood in the sky turned into a paradise. In this paradise, there were many naked, beautiful women, countless treasures, and a dazzling array of cultivation resources. She had almost everything a man needed. Myriad Sword Sect and Xiao Tianxian, who were preparing to perform the spell formation, immediately fell for the spell of charm. The two of them became dizzy at the same time. Not to mention practicing the spell formation, even standing in the sea of blood was a little unstable. In addition to the two of them, Shui Changtian, Murong Jinlu, Nie Zhonglin, and Yang Qing were also affected. Only Night Sorrow, Yuan Fengxue, and Jin Xian were fine. Night Sorrow looked at Yuan Fengxue and Jin Xian and said, In order to prevent the 6 of them from being killed by the blood corpses in a bad state, I will temporarily put them in the space grotto heaven. Leave the rest to us. The Blood Corpse Nine-Tailed Celestial Fox was most definitely an expert in the art of charm. Night Sorrow knew very well that there was no point in leaving the Myriad Sword Sect and the others behind. They would only be putting themselves in danger. Therefore, he immediately kept all 6 of them into the space grotto heaven. Then, together with Yuan Fengxue and Jin Xian, he started to fight the Blood Corpse Nine-Tailed Celestial Fox. After a fierce battle, Night Sorrow realized that the Blood Corpse Nine-Tailed Celestial Fox was indeed inferior to the Primordial Giant in terms of pure combat strength. He shouted, The 3 of us should also practice our combined techniques and try to finish it off as soon as possible. Good. Although Gold Xian's strength is a little weak, but they will never back down, Jin Xian said excitedly. Whether it was in the God Realm or now on the Blood Red Planet, he had always been a supporting character beside the Myriad Sword Sect and the others. As the grandson of the Golden Crow, he had always been under a lot of pressure. Now that he had taken on such an important role at such an important moment, he suddenly found the meaning of his existence. He thought to himself, Grandfather, your grandson will bring glory to you. Good. Fengxue, are you feeling better? Jin Xian was full of fighting spirit. There was no problem at all. Night Sorrow immediately looked at Yuan Fengxue. After entering the Blood Sea, Yuan Fengxue's condition had been very bad. Night Sorrow was not sure how much he had recovered. Brother Yi, don't worry. I'm fine. For everyone, Fengxue will do his best. Yuan Fengxue looked at Night Sorrow confidently and nodded. Good. Let's kill this nine-tailed celestial fox. Night Sorrow roared and released his virtuous divine realm again. This time, he was mainly responsible for blocking the attacks of the Blood Corpse Nine-Tailed Celestial Fox. After realizing that the bewitching technique did not work on the 3 people in front of it, the Blood Corpse Nine-Tailed Celestial Fox launched a powerful attack. Although its strength was slightly weaker than the Blood Corpse Primordial Giant, it was still very powerful. It was still very difficult for Night Sorrow and the others to deal with it. However, as the battle progressed, the 3 people's tacit understanding became higher and higher. In the end, they successfully mastered the combination technique. They successfully suppressed the Blood Corpse nine-tailed celestial fox, and after a tough battle, they completely defeated it. After defeating the Blood Corpse nine-tailed celestial fox, Knight Sorrow let out a long sigh of relief. As for Jin Xian, who had become the main character of a battle for the first time, he was excited and his confidence increased a lot. Yuan Fengshui asked, "Brother Yi, how are the people in your grotto heaven? Have they recovered?" "Huh, don't worry. After the Blood Corpse nine-tailed celestial fox was defeated, they all woke up." Knight Sorrow knew that Yuan Fengshui was interested in the Myriad sword sect and replied with a smile. At the same time, he looked at Jin Xian and said, "Brother Jin's ability to resist the bewitching technique is really impressive. If you were like the others just now, Feng Shui and I wouldn't have been able to defeat the Blood Corpse nine-tailed celestial fox." "Brother Yi, you flatter me. I just don't want to tarnish my grandfather's reputation, so I don't have any distracting thoughts." Jin Xian replied modestly, and then asked about the situation of the others. "I'll ask them and see how they're doing." Knight Sorrow replied to Yuan Fengshui and Jin Xian, then asked the Myriad sword sect in the grotto heaven, "Brother Wan, how do you feel?" "Brother Yi, what did you experience just now? Why are we in your grotto heaven?" The Myriad sword sect, who had just woken up and was still in a daze, immediately asked when he heard Knight Sorrow's voice transmission. "You were affected by the Blood Corpse nine-tailed celestial fox's bewitching technique and lost your ability to resist. Therefore, you were taken to my grotto heaven," Knight Sorrow said, and then told them about Yuan Fengshui and Jin Xian's performance. Hearing this, the people who had recovered and were released from the grotto heaven immediately expressed their gratitude to Yuan Fengshui and Jin Xian. Regarding this, Yuan Fengshui and Jin Xian were a little embarrassed. Jin Xian said modestly, "The main credit is Brother Yi. If it wasn't for Brother Yi this time, who knows how many times we would have died. The second test was really too difficult. Is indeed a little too difficult, but I feel that the harder part is still to come." Everyone's state was a little relaxed. Knight Sorrow quickly reminded them that things were definitely not that simple. Just as his voice fell, everyone's expression changed. They saw that the remaining 8 blood corpses near the teleportation array had all moved and were attacking them. These 8 blood corpses belonged to different territories, and their appearances were very different. However, each of their auras was not weaker than the nine-tailed celestial fox that they had just fought. The strongest of them was even stronger than the Blood Corpse ancient giant. "Brother Yi, what should we do? There are so many powerful blood corpses. We are no match at all." The Myriad sword sect, who was originally smiling, immediately asked in horror when he saw the 8 blood corpses in front of him. "The difference in strength between the two sides is too great. I have no other choice." Knight Sorrow's expression also changed greatly. The 8 blood corpses in front of them had revived at the same time, and their strength was clearly suppressed by the 9 of them. Chapter 29:15. We can't beat them, and we can't run away either. It seems like we are powerless this time. Yuan Fengshui sighed as he realized that it would be difficult for them to survive the crisis. But it's an honor to fight alongside everyone. We can't accept the fact that we can't bring luck to the realm of the gods. When the danger comes, let's crush our identity plates together. It's better to be teleported out than to die in battle. We can only blame the enemy for being too strong. No territory participating in the second round can fight against this kind of blood corpses. Yang Qing said gloomily. The blood corpses in front of them were too strong, and they couldn't bring themselves to fight against them. I don't know who is trying to harm our realm of the gods. They put us in such a dangerous situation. The master of the Myriad sword sect said angrily. Everyone, don't panic. Even if we have to crush our identity plates to be teleported out, we have to do it when we are absolutely no match for them. We haven't lost yet, so don't despair. If the realm of the gods doesn't get the right amount of luck, we will end up in a miserable state. We can't give up unless we have no other choice. Night Sorrow comforted everyone when he saw that they were not in a stable state of mind. He continued, "Just now I suddenly had an idea. I feel that we can form groups of 3 and form a joint attack. We could try to form a joint attack formation with 3 groups. If we form a formation in groups, the power of the formation will definitely increase." Night Sorrow, who said this, felt that there was little hope because their strength was not enough to fight against the 8 blood corpses. As long as there is a glimmer of hope, we can't give up. Think about the fate of the realm of the gods if we are defeated. According to my idea, we should fight with our lives on the line. Don't think about giving up. When a nest is overturned, no egg will remain intact. Everyone should know this. Now that the pressure is on us, we have to bear it. Xiao Tianxian, who was silent for a while, gritted his teeth and said. As he spoke, he threw his identity plate into the sea of blood corpses. "Brother Xiao," Jin Xian shouted when he saw Xiao Tianxian throw his identity plate away. Then he felt his body tremble. In his excitement, he threw his identity plate away as well. "All right, at worst, we will die here. I, Master Wan Jian, am not afraid of death." As he spoke, a look of determination appeared on Master Wan Jian's face. He then took out his nameplate and threw it away. "All right, I'll throw it away too. At worst, we will die." Seeing that the Myriad sword sect had thrown away their nameplate, Yuan Fengxue threw it away as well. "If that's the case, let's all throw away our nameplates and fight to the death. If we lose, we will die. Victory is equivalent to saving the entire divine realm and the divine realm behind it." Everyone's identity plate. Master Wan Jian's identity plate. Master Wan Jian says kill, says, and soon after, the remaining people also threw away their identity plates with a determined look on their faces. To them, if they could not help the celestial realm obtain more karmic luck, the celestial realm would definitely be devoured by other territories. Kill. We must kill the blood corpses in front of us, for the sake of the realm of the gods. The others roared as well. Their auras were dozens of times stronger than before. Oh, roar! The 8 blood corpses were as ferocious as ever. If they were compared to the realm of the gods individually, the realm of the gods would be no match for them. But everyone in the realm of the gods was ready to risk their lives. In such a state, they were able to quickly integrate their joint attack formation into a cohesive whole. Their strength increased by a lot in an instant. Don't think about whether there is hope or not. Kill as many as we can. In the middle of the battle, Yishang roared and continued to command everyone to fight. Now, he had to use more soul energy than usual, but he didn't feel tired at all. His whole body, or the unit formed by the few of them, had entered a mysterious state. The 8 blood corpses were very strong, but in a real battle, they couldn't do anything to them in a short time. After fighting for a while, the 9 people in the realm of the gods successfully killed the weakest blood corpse mermaid. After killing him, the aura of those from the firmament territory grew even stronger. Master Wan Jian roared, "Good job, everyone! Keep it up! Do your best to kill all of them! For the realm of the gods, kill! Kill!" Everyone roared and continued to fight the remaining 7 blood corpses. Although the formation consumed a lot of soul energy, they didn't care about the pills they had and kept swallowing them to maintain their condition. For example, Night Sorrow kept the 33 Heavens battle secret technique active. But the realm of the gods soon realized that the remaining 7 blood corpses had become much stronger after the blood corpse mermaid was killed. It felt like they were being nourished by the blood corpse mermaid. Moreover, under the condition of increasing their strength, they had completely fallen into a deep madness. That feeling of bloodlust and desperation made them extremely terrifying. Everyone, kill. No matter how strong the enemy is, if they want to destroy the last hope of the realm of the gods, they will have to step over us. Night Sorrow, who had raised his battle intent to the strongest state in his life, roared and began to burn his blood. This was the limitless body-tempering art that he hadn't used in a long time. Now, he didn't need to break his arm to use it. Burn, Golden Crow bloodline. In the midst of the bitter battle, Jin Xian roared and began to burn his bloodline. When he completely turned into a Golden Crow, everyone realized that he was from the Golden Crow clan, the descendant of the Golden Crow Supreme. Everyone, give it your all. Master Wan Jian can't hold back either. Great Divine Sword Technique. Transform into a sword. Master Wan Jian roared and used his ultimate technique, the Great Divine Sword Technique, to transform himself and his entire body into a giant sword. As for the others, they naturally didn't hold back and used their ultimate techniques. At this point, if they didn't use their forbidden techniques, they wouldn't have a chance of winning. At this time, the 7 blood corpses were completely enraged. They crazily fought with the realm of the gods. After a while, although the realm of the gods had successfully killed another blood corpse, 3 of them were injured and the formation was broken. Chapter 29:16. Everyone, the situation is critical now. In my opinion, although the divine artifact is important, it is nothing compared to our lives. At this critical moment, why don't we all self-detonate the half-step Supreme Being divine artifact? Perhaps it will have an unexpected effect. In this difficult moment, Night Sorrow suddenly had an idea. He felt that although a half-step Supreme Being divine artifact was hard to come by, it was not a pity to give it up when their lives were at stake. The self-detonation of a half-step Supreme Being divine artifact was much more powerful than any attack they could make. It was not something a combination attack could compare to. If they used it, they would definitely achieve great results. Although this sacrifice was huge in this desperate moment, they could only make such a choice. That's right. Not only can we self-detonate the half-step Supreme Being divine artifact, we also have the Sovereign Divine artifact in our hands. In addition, we also have the divine talismans given by the Supreme Beings. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Myriad Sword Master also became spirited. They were forced into a desperate situation, and it seemed that their potential had increased by a lot. There are restrictions on the divine talismans, so we can only use the divine talismans given by the Supreme Beings to restore our lives. If we use the offensive divine talismans, we will be killed by the ancient battlefield. After Myriad Sword Master spoke, Xiao Tianxian, who was slightly more familiar with the rules, immediately reminded them. He warned everyone not to use the divine talismans that could directly kill cultivators. This was because offensive divine talismans were explicitly prohibited in the battle for luck. If they could be used casually, then it would not be a battle between supreme beings, but a battle between supreme beings and existences that surpass supreme beings. At this time, Jin Xian said with a firm gaze, although the self-detonation of a half-step Supreme Being divine artifact is powerful, it is not realistic to kill a blood corpse. As a member of the Golden Crow clan, my speed is considered fast among everyone. I will find an opportunity to send the divine artifact into a blood corpse's mouth. Then, I will make it self-detonate. Create an opportunity for me. In terms of raw strength, Jin Xian was the weakest among everyone. This was because he had been sealed since birth, and only awakened in the last era did he begin to cultivate. However, his speed was second only to Night Sorrow among everyone. All right, but pay attention to your safety. Your own safety is the most important. Everyone, cover Jin Xian. In addition, Feng Shui, Yang Qing, and Chang Lin, who are already injured, you have to take care of yourselves. Night Sorrow, who was holding back the strongest of the blood corpses, did not have the energy to care about anything else. He could only divert a bit of energy to give orders. Don't worry, I will create opportunities for Jin Xian. You guys stall the other blood corpses. The 10,000 Swords sect, who had transformed into a giant sword, used a secret technique to dissolve the sovereign artifact and fuse it into his own body. In the blink of an eye, his strength had greatly increased, and he suddenly blasted towards one of the skeleton creatures. As for the half-step supreme divine artifact, he couldn't bear to directly destroy it. Brother Juan, Brother Jean, we will do our best. After killing the 2 blood corpses, the original 8 blood corpses became 6. Other than the one that Night Sorrow was pinning down and the one that the Thousand Sword sect was attacking, there were still 4 left. After Xiao Tianxian activated his bloodline, he was able to temporarily hold off one of them. This was where the problem arose. Of the remaining 3, Yuan Fengxue, Yang Qing, and Nie Zhonglin were blocking one. Shuichang Tian and Murong Ji Lu also blocked one. In the end, there was still one that no one could fight against. Brother Juan, you go and block the last one. Leave this skeleton to me. Jin Xian saw that there was only 1 blood corpse left, and he attacked the only female cultivator present, Yuan Fengxue. He immediately shouted anxiously, asking 10,000 Sword sect to help Yuan Fengxue. He was prepared to use his own strength to deal with the blood corpse skeleton in front of him. All right, take care of yourself. 10,000 Sword sect, who had just attacked the skeleton, immediately prepared to attack the blood corpse that was attacking Yuan Fengxue. At this time, Night Sorrow shouted, Brother Juan, continue to cooperate with Jin Xian. Leave the rest to me. Actually, at this time, Night Sorrow could not even take care of himself. Facing the strongest blood corpse, he was under a lot of pressure and could not spare any energy. But just now, he used the sea serpent eye to see the determination in Jin Xian's eyes. Jin Xian was very likely to sacrifice himself to kill the blood corpse skeleton. Night Sorrow could not accept watching his companion die in battle. After shouting, he used the Divine Origin Trapping Array and the Merit Trapping Array to bind the 2 blood corpses and attract their attention to himself. Then, he used the Void Dragon movement technique to temporarily stall them. Facing the 2 terrifying blood corpses alone, Night Sorrow did not have any power to fight back even though he had a half-step supreme divine artifact in hand. Relying on the power of the Golden Heavenly Halberd and the agility of the Void Dragon movement technique, he restrained the 2 blood corpses. At this time, the strength of the attack he was facing was definitely the strongest in his life. These 2 blood corpses must have been super experts when they were alive. Although the laws and essence of their bodies had all dissipated, their attacks were still very powerful and had vaguely surpassed the Sovereign Realm. If Night Sorrow had advanced to the Sovereign Realm, he would definitely not be afraid of them. But now, he was only an Upper Divine King and was obviously no match for them. For a time, he was in a very difficult situation. Every breath he took was very difficult. In less than 5 breaths, he was hit twice. While his divine domain was broken, his body was also severely injured. Jin Xian, this is a good opportunity. Quick, now is the time. At this moment, kill it. At the same time, the Myriad Sword sect, who had used their strongest technique to temporarily suppress the blood corpse skeleton, suddenly roared and ordered Jin Xian to attack. It was clear that Night Sorrow was in a very dangerous situation and could be killed at any time. It's coming. Damn blood corpses, go to hell. Supreme Divine Artifact, explode. Jin Xian seized the opportunity and stabbed the half-step Supreme Divine Artifact into the skeleton's mouth, causing the artifact to explode. Boom! Under the huge impact, the blood corpse skeleton was forcibly smashed into pieces. The huge aftershock caused the hearts of the people present to palpitate. As for the huge blood sea, when the divine artifact exploded, it was blasted into a huge wave of blood. Such a huge wave was clearly seen by Ji Feng and the others who were watching from the sidelines. Such power? This is an attack of a certain degree. This blood celestial body is indeed not simple. Uncle's resources were indeed not given in vain. Ji Ling, who was behind Ji Feng, could not help but sigh. She was the cousin of Ji Feng and Ji Yun. She was very strong and was the 3rd strongest person in the Divine Immortal Territories team. It should be that the people of the Divine World Territory could not hold on and have started a fight with their lives on the line. Ji Feng observed for a while and said, "It should be the final battle now. Let's go." Let's kill all the people of the divine world territory together and try not to give them the chance to crush their identity plates. Don't worry, cousin, my secret treasure can temporarily paralyze cultivators. When the battle starts, I will cooperate with you and kill them one by one to avenge cousin Ji-yun. Chapter 29:17. Cousin Feng asks you to stay behind so that you can kill all the people from the heavenly realm. Ji Feng's eyes flashed fiercely. He then ordered, "Warship, set sail. We want to kill all the inferior cultivators in the heavenly realm." Yes. After Ji Feng gave the order, the warship from the heavenly immortal realm soared into the sky. It flew from the neighboring planet to the Blood Star, where Night Sorrow and the rest were. At this moment, Yi Shang and the others, who had no idea what was going on, were still fighting desperately with the blood corpses. Earlier, Jin Xian had successfully destroyed one of the blood corpses by detonating his divine artifact. Wan Jianzong had also successfully solved the problem that Night Sorrow was facing. He had separated the two blood corpses that were chasing after Night Sorrow. He and Night Sorrow were fighting one blood corpses each. At this time, Night Sorrow shouted, "Jin Xian, go help Ziliu and Changtian. Let's see if the three of you can kill one of them quickly. As long as we can kill one more, it will be easy for us." "Okay," Jin Xian replied, and went to help Morong Ziliu and Shui Chonglin. However, although the three of them quickly performed a joint attack, the strength of their attacks was not enough. They could only injure the blood corpses, but could not kill them in a short period of time. At this time, Night Sorrow, Wan Jianzong, and Xiao Tianxian were having a hard time fighting the blood corpses. Especially Wan Jianzong, who had continuously performed his strongest technique. He could feel that his divine origin energy could not keep up with his consumption. Seeing that the situation was not right, Shui Changtian immediately shouted, "I came here to detonate my divine artifact and kill the blood corpse in front of us." "Okay, we will cooperate with you." Morong Ziliu shouted, and together with Jin Xian, they began to fight the blood corpse in front of Shui Changtian. Supreme Divine Artifact, detonate. After a few breaths, Shui Changtian found an opportunity and successfully used his half-step Supreme Divine Artifact to destroy the blood corpse in front of him. Changtian, mission accomplished. After killing the blood corpse, Shui Changtian had consumed a lot of his divine origin energy. However, Morong Jinlu and Jin Xian no longer had any opponents in front of them. They immediately rushed forward and helped Xiao Tianxian block the attacks of the blood corpses. After the three of them had held the blood corpse back for a while, Shui Changtian, who had swallowed some medicinal pellets, had recovered quite a bit of his strength. Immediately, he started to engage the three of them and the blood corpse. At this time, everyone in the god world was in a desperate situation, and their potential was stimulated far beyond normal. After the four of them joined forces, they quickly killed the blood corpse in front of them. By the time the blood corpse in front of them was killed, there were only 3 blood corpses left. The crisis was more than half resolved. We're really lucky. Thanks to Brother Ye's half-step Supreme Divine Artifact, we would have been killed a long time ago. The Myriad Sword sect, whose god essence energy had been depleted, revealed a smile as if he had survived a calamity. At this time, he was no longer able to transform into a sword. His fighting strength had fallen to rock bottom. In fact, he was no longer comparable to the weakest Gold Xian. However, this did not affect the overall situation. After everyone cooperated with Night Sorrow to get rid of the strongest blood corpse, everyone in the god world heaved a sigh of relief. I'm not sure if we will encounter stronger blood corpses after killing the 2 blood corpses in front of us. Yuan Fengxue, who was fighting the blood corpse with injuries, said tiredly. At this time, she had consumed a lot of divine origin energy. She was almost relying on her mental strength to support herself. Don't. At this rate, if there are stronger blood corpses, they should be supreme-level blood corpses. We won't be able to resist them at all. The Myriad Sword sect, who was already exhausted, sighed. His condition was no longer suitable for battle. There shouldn't be any more. There are no more blood corpses near the teleportation portal. There shouldn't be any stronger blood corpses. Using the sea serpent's eye to observe the teleportation portal's location, Night Sorrow said, I hope so. If it comes again, our divine origin energy can't keep up. Xiao Tianxian, who had also consumed a lot of divine origin energy, smiled helplessly. This battle was too difficult. If everyone had not chosen to fight with their backs against the wall at the critical moment, everyone would have exceeded their usual standards and thought of a way to self-destruct their divine artifacts. Otherwise, they would not have been able to resist. Then, with everyone's cooperation, the remaining 2 blood corpses were successfully killed. After the last blood corpse was killed, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. If they were not in the blood sea, even Night Sorrow wanted to lie on the ground and rest for a while. He was already on the verge of death, let alone the others. We have completed an impossible mission. After waiting in the blood sea for a while, they did not see any other blood corpses. The Myriad Sword sect could not help but roar. Everyone else in the protective divine domain laughed as well. Moreover, no one dared to be careless. They quickly swallowed all kinds of elixirs to recover. Yuan Fengshua, Yang Qing, and Ye Zhonglin, who were more seriously injured, went to Night Sorrow Space Cave to recover temporarily. Everyone can get closer to the teleportation portal. The force that was restraining us has disappeared. Night Sorrow was the first to recover. When he found that the force that was restraining them had disappeared, he immediately went to the teleportation portal to check it out. When the others had recovered, he quickly summoned them. They had killed 8 blood corpses without any casualties. They had only lost 2 quasi-supreme divine artifacts. This made him very satisfied. The others were the same. Everyone felt that they had survived a disaster. Moreover, after going through a life-and-death battle, their cohesion had increased a lot. Their strength had also increased to a certain extent. This was the reward of going through a life-and-death battle. I have checked it. The teleportation portal can be used. However, I am not sure where it will teleport us. Night Sorrow, who had checked the teleportation portal 3 times, said. Then, he asked everyone is almost recovered. Should we use the teleportation portal? Of course. Of course we should use it. Didn't we risk our lives to get closer to the teleportation portal? Hearing this, the Myriad Sword sect immediately shouted. At this time, he had completely recovered. However, he could not use his bloodline talent for a short period of time. His strength had been affected to a certain extent. The other's choice was the same as the Myriad Sword sect. No one wanted to stay on the blood celestial body. Okay, come up. I will activate the teleportation portal. Seeing that everyone nodded in agreement, Night Sorrow took out some eternal divine crystals and activated the teleportation portal. As the light beam descended from the sky, they instantly disappeared from the bottom of the sea. When they reappeared, Night Sorrow and the others found themselves in the void. Under the void, there was also an endless blood sea. Just as everyone was surprised, Night Sorrow saw a huge floating battleship in the clouds. This battleship was made of unknown material. It was completely black and looked very old. It was probably a product of ancient times. Looking down and then at the void, Night Sorrow judged, I think this battleship is very likely the reward for defeating the blood corpses. If there are no accidents, it can take us away from this celestial body. I hope so. Let's go up and give it a try. I really don't want to stay on this damn blood celestial body for a moment. After following Night Sorrow onto the battleship, the Myriad Sword sect said. At this time, not only him, but the others were also in a hurry to leave. Chapter 29:18. Where did this battleship come from? Is it someone from another territory, or is it another test we need to take? When a huge battleship floated over, Thousand Sword sect, who wanted to leave the blood-colored star, immediately said helplessly. He did not want to continue to be tested by the blood-colored star because the battle just now was already so difficult. If something else came, it would really be fatal. It's someone from the celestial immortal territory. I saw Ji Feng from the celestial immortal territory. Everyone, be careful and prepare for battle. He's definitely not here with good intentions. Knight Sorrow, who had opened the eye of the sea serpent, saw Ji Feng's figure on the battleship. He knew that it was not as simple as a coincidence that Ji Feng appeared here. Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Jin Xian immediately frowned and said, "This Ji Feng just finished showing off in the celestial realm. It's definitely not a coincidence that he appeared near us now. I think that our teleportation to the blood-colored star is related to the celestial immortal territory. The celestial immortal territory has so much power to arrange our landing location." Although Knight Sorrow also had doubts in his heart, he felt that the celestial immortal territory should not have such great power. Naturally, they don't have such great power, but they can bribe people from the top 10 territories and let them tamper with it. The top 10 territories in the first and second round of competition have the ability to control it. Jin Xian explained. The Golden Crow had told him about this before. I see. Hearing Jin Xian's explanation, not only Knight Sorrow understood. The others also immediately figured out what was going on. Without a doubt, the appearance of the celestial immortal territory here was definitely not as simple as a coincidence. They were definitely premeditated to deal with the celestial realm. So it's those bastards from the celestial immortal territory who are targeting us. They caused us to fall into this blood-colored star and almost killed us. We must not let them have an easy time. After roughly guessing what was going on, Thousand Sword Sect immediately became angry. He looked at Knight Sorrow and said, "Brother Yi, look at how many people are on their battleship. Let's attack and destroy them directly. Take revenge for being framed." Yes, they caused us to lose 2 half-step supreme artifacts and almost eliminated us. We must take revenge. Yuan Fengxue also said in Knight Sorrow's Grotto Heaven. Although she had not fully recovered from her injuries, she still wanted to fight. Everyone else's attitude was basically the same, which was to fight. He had to make the people in the celestial immortal territory pay the price. All right, since everyone wants to fight, in that case, let's have a casual battle and annihilate the celestial immortals team. Knight Sorrow nodded and agreed to everyone's request for battle. He then observed the battleships of the celestial immortals territory. There are more than 20 sovereigns on their warship. 5 of them had the power of a higher hegemon. The rest were middle and lower level sovereigns. Other than Ji Feng, who was surprisingly strong, there was also a woman beside him who was quite strong. It would be slightly rash of us to make a move. However, it doesn't mean that we don't have the strength to fight. There are more than 20 sovereigns. It's going to be difficult for one person to deal with 2 or 3 of them. But he still had to fight. We have to make them understand that there is no good ending for those who dare to mess with the God Realm. After Knight Sorrow finished speaking, Master Wan Jian's body exploded with endless battle intent. The rest of the people were more or less the same. Good, then let's fight. Their aura is far inferior to the blood corpses. It shouldn't be a match for us. Observing the celestial immortals territory through the battleship's formation, Knight Sorrow said to everyone, then suddenly wondered, they don't seem to be able to see us? I wonder if it's a trick or something. Standing on the dark battleship, they could clearly see the enemy's battleship. But Knight Sorrow discovered that the people on the celestial immortals territory's battleship did not even lock their gazes on their battleship. This was obviously a little strange. Logically speaking, if they really wanted to deal with the God Realms people, they could just swarm them when they saw them. With more than 20 sovereigns, there was no reason for them to resort to tricks. No matter if it's a trick or not, we'll just attack directly. Everyone get ready. Don't use the half-step supreme artifact in your hands. Just use the sovereign artifact in combination with the joint attack technique. Master Wan Jian, who had taken out a long sword, said and took the lead to launch a probing attack on the celestial immortals territory's battleship. Even Master Wan Jian moved. The others naturally couldn't just watch. Even the few people who were recuperating in Knight Sorrow's Grotto Heaven came out and followed. They were prepared to completely annihilate the celestial immortals territory's people. However, when Master Wan Jian's sword light bombarded the Celestial Immortals Territory's battleship. The God Realm's people were shocked to find that his sword light pierced through the air. That feeling was like piercing through a mirage, directly piercing through it. The Celestial Immortals Territory's battleship was like an illusion. He didn't attack it at all. Brother Yi, what do you think is going on? After Master Wan Jian pierced through the air, the others' attacks also all missed. They didn't hit the Celestial Immortals Territory's battleship at all. They were all astonished. Murong Ji Lu asked doubtfully. At this moment, they were somewhat puzzled. What the hell is going on? I'm not sure either. Everyone observed them. Night Sorrow said, and once again caught up with the battleship. Floating on top of the battleship, he observed the people on the battleship. After observing for a while, he confirmed that this is definitely the Celestial Immortals Territory's battleship. Moreover, Ji Feng and the others are all real. It's just that they don't seem to be in the same space as them. But because of the characteristics of space, they can see the Celestial Immortals Territory's people, but the other party can't see them at all. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow suddenly came to a realization and said with a smile, I seem to have understood something. The Celestial Immortals Territory's people should be the same as us. They came to the Blood Star and were trapped. They should be like us. They must find the teleportation array and pass through the checkpoint. Only then can they successfully leave. Ha ha ha. If that's the case, then it's interesting. They really can't bear the evil that they brought upon themselves. Shuechang Tian, who was also observing the Celestial Immortals Territory's people, suddenly laughed loudly. The other Celestial Realms people's expression is also extremely playful. They are completely clear how difficult it is to deal with those blood corpses. Soon after, they all began to observe the Celestial Immortals Territory's movements. Just as Night Sorrow thought, the Celestial Immortals Territory's people soon found themselves trapped in the Blood Star, and like headless flies, they began to look for a way out. After a long time, they finally dived into the Blood Sea. When the other party dived into the Blood Sea, Night Sorrow and the others who still had lingering fear did not continue to follow and observe. However, about 4 hours later, the Blood Sea began to tremble violently. Very obviously, the Celestial Immortals Territory's people also encountered the same test as the Celestial Realms people. Seeing this scene, Thousand Sword Sect suddenly laughed and said, ha ha. They really lifted a rock and smashed it on their own feet. Brother Yi, what do you think we should do next? Chapter 29:19. Yes. Brother Yi, what do you think we should do? Jin Xian also asked. Unknowingly, everyone had completely regarded Night Sorrow as their leader. They were used to asking for his opinion first. Seeing everyone's gaze on his face, Night Sorrow revealed a smile on his face. He looked at the Blood Sea and said, It's definitely not a coincidence that Celestial Immortals Territory appeared here. Moreover, there's still about 100 years until the end of the battle for Providence. We're not in a hurry to leave and fight. Therefore, we can set up a formation in this void. If they can succeed, do you understand what I mean? Understood. Of course. We must let those people from the heavenly immortal territory understand what it means to bring evil upon oneself is the hardest to bear. Thousand Sword Master's murderous aura soared into the sky as he said this with a rather imposing manner. Next, I'll set up a formation. Everyone, quickly recover and then wait for the exhausted. If they can successfully leave the Blood Sea, they'll most likely appear here. At that time, we'll kill all of them. Let them understand that our Celestial Realm territory is not to be targeted by anyone. Night Sorrow instructed and began to set up the formation. He felt that the people of Celestial Immortals territory could crush their nameplates and leave, but they must not slip away in front of them. At this time, Xiao Tianxian added, On the warship just now, there should be more than 20 Celestial Immortals territory cultivators. This is clearly not everyone in the Celestial Immortals territory. We need to be prepared. If there are others in their space, grotto heaven. If the number reaches 40 or 50, then will be really difficult to deal with. However, that's under normal circumstances. As long as they enter my formation, they have no chance of winning. Originally, Night Sorrow only planned to set up a simple trap formation, but after Xiao Tianxian finished speaking, he immediately put more thought into the formation. By the time Night Sorrow finished setting up the formation, everyone had more or less recovered in the formation. After waiting for half a month on the Black Warship, the people of Celestial Immortals territory had yet to come out. However, the Blood Sea was still surging with huge waves. Obviously, the battle was still ongoing. Night Sorrow and the rest completely repaired the Black Warship and studied how it sailed. They gave it a new name, Rising God. It meant the rise of the God Realm. Whether or not the territory of the God Realm can rise to power depends on the 9 of us. In this battle of providence, we must not only successfully advance to the final. We had to get a good result in the finals. Our goal is not only to advance to the top 1,000, but also to stay at the front as much as possible. After praising the name Night Sorrow, Master Wan Jian said in high spirits. In the first and second round of the competition, there weren't many strong territories. And after advancing to the finals, no matter what the rules are, we may encounter a territory that is too strong to fight against. What happened in the Celestial Immortals territory today was a wake-up call for us. Some processes in the Battle of Providence can be manipulated. Night Sorrow explained after hearing the 10,000 Swords sex words. Right now, my territory in the Celestial Realm has only advanced to the second round, so it hasn't attracted the attention of other territories yet. When we advance to the finals of the Battle of Providence, it's absolutely impossible for those dominions that once attacked us not to deal with us. Therefore, with our current strength, it's simply not enough. Everyone must improve their strength by one step within 100 years. At most, each of us can advance to upper-level Dominator. It's not easy to improve qualitatively. Yuan Fengshua looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Why don't we do our best to help you advance to the Dominator realm? At the upper-level Divine King realm, you can fight an upper-level Dominator. If you can advance to the Dominator realm, you might be able to fight against some powerful Dominators. I feel that this is the only way our territory in the Celestial Realm can stand firm in the finals." At this point, Yuan Fengshua looked at everyone and said, "What do you all think?" Yes, what Fengshua said makes sense. It's very difficult for our strength to improve greatly in a short 100 years. But Brother Yi is different. As long as he advances from the Divine King realm to the Dominator realm, his strength will increase by 1 level. Master Wan Jian agreed after Yuan Fengshua finished speaking. Within 100 years, if they plundered enough laws and essence, everyone present could advance to the upper-level Dominator realm. There would be some improvement, but it was still an advancement. But Night Sorrow was completely different. He was advancing, and his strength would increase by a large margin. Good. Then from now on, let's let Night Sorrow absorb all the laws and essence we obtain and strive to advance to the Dominator realm within 100 years. Xiao Tianxian also looked at Night Sorrow in agreement. At this moment, Night Sorrow said, "Everyone, there's no need to do this. Night Sorrow's advancement will greatly increase his strength. This is a fact. However, Night Sorrow's speed of absorbing laws and essence is limited. If we obtain large amounts of resources, we still need to distribute them properly and strive to let everyone advance to the peak of the Dominator realm. That's fine too. However, no matter what, we have to be the first to obtain large amounts of resources." Master Wan Jian nodded and said, "Then we have to make the best use of our time. Even if we have enmity with the Celestial Realm, we can't keep waiting here. How about this? We'll wait for them for half a year. If they don't come out in half a year, we'll take the battleship out to battle. They clearly came from other celestial bodies, so the second round should be the celestial body battle." Good. Then it's decided. With regard to Master Wan Jian's decision, Night Sorrow expressed his agreement. However, they couldn't just wait idly on the battleship. The 9 of them once again split into 3 groups and practiced the 3-3 joint attack formation. After 3 months of practice, they had already thoroughly mastered the art of joint attack. Similarly, they had also completely mastered the joint attack formation of 9 people. In the process of cooperation, the 9 of them gradually gained a deeper understanding of each other. The 9 of them from the celestial realm seemed to have become a whole, and their cohesion had greatly increased. After completely mastering the joint attack formation, everyone rested on the rising god for a short while before continuing to wait for the people from the celestial realm. In the next few months, the battle at the bottom of the sea did not stop. However, as they waited for close to 5 months, the battle in the Blood Sea became more and more intense. It was as if the entire Blood celestial realm was about to be shattered. This level of battle was much more intense than the battle that Night Sorrow and the others fought. Clearly, the opponents they encountered were much stronger than the ones from the celestial realm. Everyone was very curious as to what the people from the celestial realm had encountered. Let me see what's going on down there. Chapter 29:20. For the past few months, Night Sorrow would occasionally open the sea serpent's eye to see if the battle was still ongoing. He would not open it during normal times to avoid unnecessary consumption. The battle this time was too intense, and it immediately attracted his attention. After observing for a while, Night Sorrow frowned and said, "There are 11 people left in the divine immortal territory, and they are facing 2 blood corpses. If there are no accidents, these 2 blood corpses will be killed very soon. Let's get ready. This might be the last wave they will encounter. All right, should we use our half-step supreme divine artifacts?" Hearing Night Sorrow's words, everyone began to make preparations. Morongwaji asked, as he was not sure. "Take them. Those with half-step supreme divine artifacts. Get ready. Try to kill them in one blow. Brother Yi has already set up a formation, and none of them will be able to escape. In the second round, we are not afraid that the half-step supreme divine artifacts will be leaked." After Morongwaji spoke, Wan Jianzong immediately said gloomily. Xiao Tianxian, who was emitting a murderous aura, said at this time, "It doesn't matter if we don't attack, but once we attack, try to kill them as quickly as possible to prevent one of them from crushing their identity plates and revealing that we have a large number of half-step supreme divine artifacts. All right, we won't show any mercy to those who set us up," Yuan Fengxue said coldly. After everyone was in position, Night Sorrow added, "When the battle starts, immediately use the formation and don't give them any chance. I don't want to see anyone die in the divine world territory. All right, the 9 of us will advance and retreat together." Jin Xian smiled. Although he had already detonated his half-step supreme divine artifact, he was not worried about his own safety. At this time, under the leadership of Ji Feng, the divine immortal territories, people successfully defeated the last 2 blood corpses. After killing the 2 blood corpses, Ji Feng let out a long breath and said, "We should be able to leave this place now, right? I didn't expect the Blood Stars test to be so difficult that we lost so many people. This Blood Star is indeed terrifying. I wonder if those people from the Divine World territory have successfully left." While walking towards the teleportation array, Ji Feng's cousin, Ji Ling, frowned. Having fought to such an extent, every single person in the heavenly immortal territory was physically and mentally exhausted. Moreover, even the medicinal pills in their possession had been almost completely consumed. It could be seen how intense the battles had been the past few months. This place is so terrifying. What kind of strength do we have to pay such a high price to successfully reach the teleportation array? Those trash from the divine world must have fallen and sunk into the depths of the blood sea like those blood corpses. Ji Feng's injuries weren't too serious, but his energy was exhausted as he spoke with an unruly expression. He didn't even put the people of the divine world in his eyes. At this time, Ji Ling, who had finished inspecting the transportation array, looked at Ji Feng and asked, "Cousin, there's no problem with the transportation array. It should be able to transport us out of the Blood Sea. Should we recover first before going out? Or should we leave directly?" "Recover what?" This place is already so scary. If an even scarier group of blood corpses appears later, we won't even have a place to cry. Everyone, get into the teleportation array. We're leaving now. Ji-Feng grumbled before taking the lead to step onto the teleportation array. I'm afraid that we'll run into people from other territories when we go out. I can't fight in my current state. Ji-Ling saw that Ji-Feng wasn't too happy and immediately explained. Let's talk about it after we teleport out. Ji-Feng didn't listen to Ji-Ling's advice. When the remaining 10 cultivators from the divine immortal territory had all boarded the teleportation array, he immediately used the eternal god crystal to activate it. After a moment, they were teleported into the array that Night Sorrow had set up. At the same time, a black battleship appeared in the void. This battleship was obviously a reward for the people of the divine immortal territory. However, when they saw the light of day again, before they had time to inspect the battleship, they discovered Night Sorrow and the rest. It's you, the trash from the divine world. You guys actually came out too. When Ji-Feng saw Night Sorrow clearly, his face was filled with disbelief. In an instant, he began to regret not listening to Ji-Ling and recovering properly inside. Who's the genius and who's the trash? We'll have a conclusion soon. Night Sorrow's face revealed a trace of a smile. At this time, the people of the divine immortal territory were almost exhausted and had no strength left to fight. There were only two results waiting for them. One was to be killed by the people of the divine world. The other was to crush their identity nameplates and give up on this battle for providence. Bastard. If it weren't for the fact that we were exhausted to this extent, you guys from the divine world would also be able to do whatever you want. Although Ji-Feng was dissatisfied with his words, he actually sent a voice transmission to everyone in the divine immortal territory to hold their identity nameplates in their hands. They were ready to give up at any time. Hee hee. It seems that you guys are very unwilling. Night Sorrow sneered and said, If I'm not wrong, you guys were originally prepared to wait for us to exhaust ourselves to a certain extent before surrounding and killing us, right? Now that things have developed to this extent, it's called good and evil retribution. So what if I am? All of you from the divine world deserve to die. It's a pity that I, Ji-Feng, am a little unlucky. I can't kill you with my own hands. Ji-Feng roared with a gloomy expression. He was very unwilling to accept the fact that things had developed to this extent. He was so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood. At this time, Night Sorrow smiled again and asked, Do you think that you guys can be our match after recovering? Why? You're prepared to give us a chance to recover? Hearing Night Sorrow's words, before Ji-Feng could answer, Ji-Ling answered. After saying that, she continued, I heard that although you guys from the divine world aren't very strong, you guys are still trustworthy. Since you've expressed your intention, you won't regret it, right? You're really twisting words and forcing logic. However, what's the harm in letting you guys recover? Night Sorrow glanced at everyone in disdain and said sarcastically, If any of you dare to destroy your identity nameplate and fight to the death, I can let him recover. One-on-one or group battle, it's up to you. How about it? If you guys from the divine world dare to swear, I, Ji-Feng, will be the first to throw away my identity nameplate. Ji-Feng, who was originally very unwilling, immediately became spirited when he heard Night Sorrow's words. In fact, the other people from the divine immortal territory were the same. No one was willing to accept the fate of being eliminated the moment they entered the ancient battlefield. So what if I swear? I, Night Sorrow, swear in the name of the divine world that as long as anyone from the divine immortal territory dares to throw away their identity nameplates, we will fight to the death. None of us from the divine world territory will make a move first. Otherwise, the divine world territory will be destroyed immediately. Night Sorrow looked at Ji-Feng and swore word by word. He cultivated the power of virtue, but he did not hesitate to take revenge. The other party was his enemy, so he was not prepared to show mercy. Chapter 29-21. Good, good, good. Very good. Today, I, Ji Feng, have a whole new level of respect for your heavenly realm territory. After Night Sorrow made his vow, the other heavenly realm people also repeated it. Ji Feng's face suddenly revealed a sinister smile. He first said politely, then said, "But you are too arrogant today, and you will pay the price for it. Everyone in the heavenly immortal territory, listen up. Use your fastest speed to recover your strength." Yes, young Master Feng. Originally, they thought that they would have to crush their nameplates and return to the heavenly immortal territory. But now, they did not hesitate to recover their strength on the heavenly immortal territory's battleship. Everyone, including Ji Ling, had the same mentality. They felt that the heavenly realm territory was letting the tiger return to the mountain. They were tigers that could tear the other party apart. As long as they recovered, they could win. Until now, none of the cultivators in the heavenly immortal territory thought highly of the heavenly realm territory. Even the most cautious Ji Ling did not take Night Sorrow and the others seriously. If you want to make the heavenly realm territory pay the price, you need to be strong. Let's wait and see. After speaking to Ji Feng, Night Sorrow transmitted to the heavenly immortal territory people, saying, when the array is activated, their strength will be weakened by a lot. However, the people in the heavenly immortal territory are all good at using swords and can form a very powerful sword array. Everyone, remember what we have practiced. Try to break their sword array as soon as possible. While waiting for the heavenly immortal territory people, Night Sorrow used the sea serpent's eye to observe their sword array. He also let the heavenly realm people practice how to break it. Don't worry, their sword array is dead, but our combined attack array is alive. We will definitely succeed in breaking them. Myriad Sword Master said fiercely. Jin Xian also said with killing intent, Brother Yi, don't worry. The time to prove the heavenly realm territory has come. We will explode with our greatest potential. All these years, the heavenly realm territory had been too weak, and it made the heavenly realm people very angry. Everyone wanted to prove themselves. Moreover, the heavenly immortal territory people did not take them seriously when facing the heavenly realm territory people. This made the heavenly realm cultivators extremely angry. While waiting, Night Sorrow explained the strategy to them. At the same time, after some discussion, they decided to use their strongest techniques, joint attack formations, and half-step supreme divine artifacts. His goal was to break down the enemy's resistance as soon as possible under the powerful attack. That's the basic situation. Everyone, prepare for battle. By the time the Celestial Immortals had finished discussing their strategy, the Celestial Immortals had almost fully recovered. Night Sorrow looked at the enemy in front of him and said, although he cultivated the power of virtue, he had never been soft-hearted when dealing with ruthless enemies. The people from the Celestial Immortal Territory had caused them to fall into the Blood Sea astral body and almost lost their lives there. This was a great enmity of life and death. We've recovered. People of the divine world, prepare to die. After everyone in the heavenly immortal domain recovered, Ji Feng's body instantly exploded with a powerful killing intent. He was completely different from how he was a moment ago. Kill, kill, kill. The other people from the celestial immortal domain shouted the word kill in unison. At this time, Night Sorrow sneered. It seems like you haven't thrown away your identity nameplates. Are you afraid that you can't escape after losing the battle, so you're shamelessly leaving a way out? It doesn't matter if we throw it away or not. We don't need it anyway. Ji Feng's face revealed a disdainful smile. Obviously, the people from the celestial immortal domain were not going to throw away their identity nameplates. This was completely shameless. All right, in that case, it doesn't matter if you throw it away or not. The people from the celestial immortal domain went back on their words. The celestial immortal domain people were very angry, but Night Sorrow calmed down. Although he was angry at the other party's actions, he had the ability to deal with it. Of course it doesn't matter. For dead people like you, it doesn't matter if we throw away our identity nameplates or not. Ji Feng said with a fake smile. Then he shouted, "Celestial Immortal Domain people, kill them!" Yes. At the same time, the people from the Celestial Immortal Domain people all pulled out the longswords at their waists. Their weapons were all silver longswords, but each longsword had a different pattern on it. The craftsmanship was very delicate. After they pulled out their swords, they immediately formed a sword formation and charged towards the Celestial Immortal Domain people. 10 people, standing in 10 different positions, waved their long swords together, as if forming a sharp picture scroll, and attacked the people from the Celestial Immortal Domain people. This is a territorial secret technique that was comprehended from the Celestial Immortal painting. Your Celestial Immortal Domain people's inheritance has been cut off long ago. You are simply powerless to resist. Ji Feng, who was at the center of the formation, had a face full of superiority, and the inheritance of the Celestial Immortal Domain was indeed as he said. Back then, it was taken away by a powerful domain. Even if the inheritance was taken away, my Celestial Immortal Domain is not something that trash like you can look down on. Hearing Ji Feng mention the humiliation of the Celestial Immortal Domain people, Master Wan Jian immediately took out his divine artifact. What's the use of such fancy tricks? Xiao Tianxian, who had not spoken for a long time, also spoke at this time. Night Sorrow, on the other hand, sent a telepathic message to everyone. Remember the main points of our practice. Go, kill. Just as Night Sorrow's voice fell, the 9 people from the Celestial Immortal Domain once again divided into 3 groups and used a joint attack technique. And on top of that, they formed a joint attack formation. The sword formation of the Celestial Immortal Domain people had long been studied by Night Sorrow using the Sea Serpent's Eye. But the joint attack formation of the Celestial Immortal Domain people was something that Ji Feng and the others from the Celestial Immortal Domain had never seen before. For a moment, they, who originally had an infinite sense of superiority in their hearts, were flabbergasted. They felt that although their sword formation was exquisite, it was obvious that every move was targeted. And soon, Ji Feng and Ji Ling discovered that most of the people from the Celestial Immortal Domain people had half-step supreme divine artifacts in their hands. The gap between the two sides in terms of divine artifacts was like a ravine between heaven and earth. If this battle continued, the Celestial Immortal Domain people would not stand a chance at all. This is not good. The Celestial Immortal Domain is much stronger than we thought. Everyone, crush the identity plates in your hands, or we will all die here. Less than 15 minutes into the battle, Ji Feng helplessly gave the order. He was so indignant that he almost broke his teeth from clenching them. But in the face of the joint attack formation of the Celestial Immortal Domain, there was nothing he could do. Now you understand that you are just a frog at the bottom of a well, right? We haven't even activated the formation, and you guys are already done for. Master Wan Jian mocked disdainfully when he heard Ji Feng shout. At this time, not only him, but the other cultivators from the Celestial Immortal Domain also felt a sense of exaltation. Chapter 29-22. After Night Sorrow joined the Celestial Realm, the Celestial Realm became completely different. If it was in the past, they wouldn't have the slightest chance when facing the territory of a formidable heavenly immortal. But now, under the circumstances that they hadn't activated the formation, they'd caused the heavenly immortal to be unable to fight back at all. Everyone in the heavenly realm, who were originally lacking in confidence, was now filled with the desire to win. While the 10,000 Swords sect mocked Ji Feng, the Celestial Realm's forces continued their fierce assault. They have a large number of half-step Supreme Being artifacts, and their formations are extremely powerful. We are no match for them at all. Everyone, listen to Cousin Ji Feng's words. Crush your nameplates immediately. At this time, after Ji Feng spoke, no one from the Celestial Immortal territory took out their doppelganger nameplates. Ji Ling shouted anxiously. She didn't even have the energy to send a voice transmission. I'll activate the formation. Ji Feng is the core of the enemy. We'll surround him with all our strength and not give him any chance to escape. Everyone in the heavenly immortal domain had betrayed him. Although Knight Sorrow did not have the confidence to keep all of them here, he had the confidence to keep Ji Feng here. As long as they could kill Ji Feng, today's battle would not have been in vain. Without any hesitation, he immediately activated the formation and weakened the strength of everyone in the Celestial Immortals territory. Kill. When the sky changed color, everyone in the celestial world understood that Knight Sorrow had activated the spell formation. Suddenly, a deafening roar resounded. The way he shouted the word kill now was completely different from before. He was truly prepared to keep everyone in the heavenly immortals territory here and kill them. It was not just a simple slogan. After the sky changed color, everyone in the celestial immortal territory immediately felt that something was wrong with their bodies. None of them dared to hesitate in the slightest. They were all prepared to take out their identity plates. However, before they could even use it, they were surprised to find that the people from the god world who had been fighting with them had suddenly turned into monsters. They had all changed their targets. Soon, they found the people from the divine world, and their target was the strongest person in the heavenly immortal territory, Ji Feng. Ji Feng, who was trapped, was attacked by the combined attacks of the 9 people. Although he tried his best to resist, he was hit continuously. Even self-preservation had become an extravagant hope. So how could he have the chance to take out his identity plate? As he fought, he glared at Yishang and said, "Even if I die today, the secret of your territory in the god realm will be exposed. Just think about it." Who are the ones targeting the divine realm? As long as you show any signs of yourself, you will immediately suffer a fatal blow. Wait for the despair you will inevitably face. You're the one in despair now. You don't have to worry about my territory in the divine world. With the golden heavenly halberd in hand, after weakening Ji Feng's strength, Knight Sorrow could easily crush him with his own strength. At this moment, under the joint attack of the 9 of them, Ji Feng didn't have the slightest ability to fight back. They didn't kill him immediately because they wanted to use this method to keep the others here. Seeing that Ji Feng was surrounded, none of the people from the heavenly immortal domain crushed their identity plates. Especially Ji Ling. Seeing Ji Feng being surrounded, it seemed like he was about to die. Warriors of the celestial immortal territory, follow me and save my cousin Ji Feng. He is the future hope of my celestial immortal territory. He absolutely cannot die. Yes. Although everyone in the celestial immortal territory was fearful, none of them dared to crush their identity plates immediately. Under Ji Ling's command, they went forward to rescue Ji Feng. Are you stupid? Get lost. They're using me to lure you over. Seeing the people from the celestial immortal territory rushing over under the lead of his cousin Ji Ling, Ji Feng, who was already in despair, instantly roared crazily. While he was roaring, Master Wan Jian chopped off his chin with a sword. "You bunch of demons! I'll kill you all." Seeing Ji Feng in such a miserable state, Ji Ling went completely crazy. Under her lead, the people from the celestial immortal territory who had already lost their will to fight braced themselves and charged forward. Stupid. You are all too stupid. The people from the divine world are all demons. You're just sacrificing your lives for nothing. Ji Feng, who was continuously injured, no longer had the ability to speak. He transmitted his voice to everyone. When the battle came, he couldn't help but shed tears of hatred. We're cruel? Or you're despicable? If it wasn't for your celestial immortal territory, why would our divine world land directly on the Blood Star and almost die in the Blood Sea? You were prepared to continue adding insult to injury, but ended up like this. This is completely self-inflicted evil. Don't act like a victim. Seeing the grief and anger of the people from the celestial immortal territory, Xiao Tianxian said coldly. The people from celestial immortal territory were originally prepared to harm them. If they had the slightest bit of mercy, they would be as stupid as Mr. Donghua. If a tiger wants to hurt people, it should be prepared to be killed. The only female cultivator present, Yuan Fengxue, had no sympathy for the people from the celestial immortal territory. If it wasn't for Ji Feng and the others, they wouldn't have encountered such a disaster as soon as they landed. If it wasn't for Knight Sorrow's joint attack formation and the half-step supreme divine artifact, they would have been killed by the blood corpse in the blood sea. They would have sunk to the bottom of the blood sea forever. You will pay the price. Knight Sorrow's body has the mark of my father. The other team from the celestial immortal territory will meet you and kill you. After Ji Feng's mouth recovered a little, he cursed at Knight Sorrow and the others and prepared to self-destruct. He wanted to let Ji Ling and the others escape. However, just as Ji Feng was about to self-destruct, Knight Sorrow used his golden heavenly halberd and directly pierced his deity ocean. Thousand Swords Sect pierced his Dantian. Killing a powerful dominator like Ji Feng would give them a large amount of laws and essences. They didn't want to waste them by letting him self-destruct. Cousin Feng, seeing that Ji Feng was killed, Ji Ling cried even more miserably. This is the price you have to pay for targeting the Celestial Realm. Don't think that the Celestial Realm is easy to bully. Seeing that Ji Ling was crying, the only female cultivator from the Celestial Realm, Yuan Fengxue, said coldly, "Cultivators of the Celestial Realm, you will pay the price in blood." In an instant, before anyone could react, Ji Ling pounced towards Yuan Fengxue and chose to self-destruct at the same time. Not good. Fengxue, be careful. Since Ji Ling chose to self-destruct in front of Yuan Fengxue, Thousand Sword Sect immediately transformed into a giant sword to block it. At this moment, Knight Sorrow, who was attacking the other cultivator from the Celestial Immortal Territory, used a sealing array. Using the Divine Origin Trapping Array and the Merit Trapping Array, he temporarily sealed the explosion caused by Ji Ling. It was this little bit of time that allowed Yuan Fengxue and Shao Tianxian to take out their defensive magic tools. Together with Thousand Sword Sect, they directly blocked Ji Ling's self-destruction. The whole process was smooth, and only Thousand Sword Sect suffered a small injury. The degree of tacit cooperation made some of the cultivators from the Celestial Immortal Territory, who had yet to escape, exclaim in admiration. Chapter 29-23. Run. Let's run. They're too scary. We can't fight against them at all. After Ji Feng was killed and Ji Ling chose to self-destruct, the people from Celestial Immortal's territory finally dared to think of escaping. They were all nurtured by the Ji family and had a blood oath. If they disobeyed the orders of the Ji family's disciples, they would immediately be punished by the heavens. Trying to escape? Is that even possible? A male cultivator from Celestial Immortal's territory had just taken out his identity plate from his spatial artifact when Jin Xian, who was very close to him, used his feather sword to cut off his arm. Activate the illusion array. Everyone, seize the opportunity. This illusion array can only trap them for a few breaths of time. Just as the male cultivator from Celestial Immortal's territory was screaming, Knight Sorrow suddenly shouted. This was the illusion array that he had set up. However, due to the limited materials, he could only set it up for a few breaths of time. Now that the people from Celestial Immortal's territory had taken out their identity plates and were trying to escape from the ancient battlefield, he also activated the illusion array under such circumstances. A few breaths of time is enough. The people from Myriad Sword Sect who originally thought that they could no longer stop the people from Celestial Immortal's territory heard Knight Sorrow's words and used their strongest techniques to target their targets. Under the tacit cooperation, no one from Celestial Immortal's territory managed to escape. After killing them, Knight Sorrow and the others obtained a large amount of Sovereign's Law and Essence, as well as a considerable amount of resources and 2 battleships. Everyone, recuperate in the array. Once you've completely recovered, we'll discuss the distribution of the spoils. After the battle, Knight Sorrow immediately spoke, allowing everyone to recover their strength. After everyone had recovered, Night Sorrow continued. Do you all think it's better for us to leave in one battleship or split into 3 groups and drive 3 battleships to other celestial bodies? From the looks of it, every celestial body in the sky is a territory. If we want to enter the top 1,200, we have to eliminate some of the territories as soon as possible. Otherwise, we'll definitely be eliminated since we're at a disadvantage in terms of numbers. It's better for everyone to take 1 battleship. Xiao Tianxian thought for a moment and looked at Night Sorrow. For now, it's safer for everyone to take 1 battleship. Moreover, we've obtained so many resources, there will definitely be people who want to cultivate. Everyone on 1 battleship. We could take care of each other. Yes, if there are only 3 people on a warship, it will be difficult to take care of each other. Yuan Fengshui nodded. The others had similar thoughts. After they finished speaking, Night Sorrow said, since it's like this, Xuechang Tian and Jin Xian will each control a battleship. The 2 of you have already lost a half-step Supreme Divine Artifact. Who knows, you might be able to use the battleship to save your lives at a critical moment. Haha, how can we use a warship to save our lives? Jin Xian said with a smile when he saw that Night Sorrow wanted him to take care of a battleship. The speed of the battleship should be above that of most cultivators. If you encounter someone you can't beat, immediately enter the battleship and escape, Night Sorrow said to Jin Xian. After that, Xuechang Tian and Jin Xian both kept their battleships. Everyone began to study how to use the laws and essences. Although Night Sorrow wanted to share it with everyone so that everyone could improve, no one, including the Master of 10,000 Swords, wanted it. With no other choice, Night Sorrow could only distribute the other spoils of war from the heavenly immortal territory to them. And NBS, Brother Yi, which star do you think we should go to first? After distributing all the resources brought by the heavenly immortal territory cultivators, the Master of 10,000 Swords looked at Night Sorrow and asked. As for the others, they cast their gazes onto the 2 of them. Looking at Night Sorrow in the void, he thought for a moment and said, let's go to the heavenly immortal territory star first and see if their other team is there. If they don't find anything, then we'll think about other things. Good. That's great. Let's destroy the arrogant heavenly immortal territory in one go to prevent future trouble. Morong Zizhen said with a smile. After experiencing a crushing battle, everyone was no longer so nervous. Don't be careless. From what Ji Feng said, the remaining people of the heavenly immortal territory should be stronger than us. Against more than 20 sovereigns, if we want to win, we'll have to pay an unimaginable price. And among the participating territories, there are some that are even stronger than the heavenly immortal territory. If they're not scattered, there might be 50 to 60 sovereigns. If we encounter them, it'll be hard to fight them. Everyone in the heavenly realm territory was more relaxed. Night Sorrow was the first to sound the alarm for them. If the heavenly realm territory could see the light of hope, but their combat strength had not completely risen, they would not be able to look down on the heroes. What Yishang said makes sense. Caution is the parent of safety. We have to treat every territory seriously. Xiao Tianxian said and piloted the God Rising. Under everyone's persuasion, Night Sorrow began to absorb the sovereign's law and essence that he had just obtained. After advancing to the upper divine king, Night Sorrow's speed of absorbing law and essence had increased by almost 100 times. However, the Blood Star and the heavenly immortal territory's Primal Wood Star were quite close to each other. No matter how fast Night Sorrow absorbed the law and essence, it was impossible for him to absorb all the law and essence in such a short time. After some investigation, everyone in the heavenly realm territory discovered that there were no cultivators on the Primal Wood Star at all, only countless trees. At this time, Night Sorrow was still immersed in cultivation. Myriad Sword Sect and Xiao Tianxian had a discussion and decided not to wake him up unless there was danger. After that, the heavenly realm territory, under the leadership of Myriad Sword Sect and Xiao Tianxian, piloted the God Rising and went to other planets to look for people from other territories. However, the 3 celestial bodies closest to him were all in ruins. Obviously, they had been through a battle. It's very likely that this was done by another team from the heavenly immortal territory. Although they did not leave behind a corpse, there are remnants of their heavenly immortal territory's aura in the void. They've been through continuous battles, so there must be casualties. Why don't we track them down? Instead of being targeted, we might as well take the initiative to attack. After checking the traces of battle on the 3 planets, Xiao Tianxian mentioned that the heavenly immortal territory had planted a mark on Night Sorrow. He was an imprint planted by a supreme being, and only the person who planted the imprint or someone who was above the supreme being realm could dispel it. If they did not find the other group from the heavenly immortal territory, they might suddenly appear at a critical moment in the heavenly realm territory's battle and give everyone a fatal blow. That makes sense. I agree to pursue them. However, Brother Yi is immersed in cultivation. Without him, we shouldn't be a match for the other group from the heavenly immortal territory. Myriad Sword Sect said with a frown. Now, Night Sorrow was the backbone of the heavenly realm territory. As long as he was there, there would be no problem in pursuing anyone. However, the problem now was that he was cultivating, and it was not good to disturb him. Chapter 29-24. It's fine. At most, we won't fight for the time being. The other team in the celestial realm is obviously fighting nonstop. As the saying goes, one never wakes up early without benefits. There must be some secret behind this. A secret that we don't know. Xiao Tianxian said and continued. Before Night Sorrow wakes up from his cultivation, we'd better find out everything. He had always suspected that other than obtaining some Dominator's law and essence, there were other rewards for plundering other planets. However, it had been a long time since the people from the celestial realm entered the second round. They did not know about these things. Sigh, we can only blame ourselves for not being able to enter the second round for so long. Master Wan Jian sighed and said, "You're right. We need to find out what's going on. All right. Let's continue to track the other team from the celestial realm. I think after this planet, they must have gone to the nearest planet, Aquamarine." Xiao Tianxian looked up and locked his eyes on the nearest planet. The second round had not started for long. He judged that the other team from the celestial realm could not have gone too far. Boom! Just as Xiao Tianxian finished speaking, a loud rumbling sound came from Aquamarine. Although it was far away, the people from the celestial realm heard it clearly. Let's go. Let's go take a look. If something is wrong, we'll escape with the rising. After the sound was heard from Cerulean, Master 10,000 Swords immediately looked at Xiao Tianxian and instructed him to steer the warship forward. There's obviously a big formation ahead. Everyone be careful, Xiao Tianxian said and steered the rising towards Aquamarine. The rising was very fast, but it took them half a month to reach Aquamarine. When the people from the celestial realm arrived at Aquamarine, they found that it was similar to the other planets. Mountains and rivers were broken. Clearly, the intense battle had caused the ground to shatter. The originally spherical celestial body had even turned into a hemispherical shape. Looks like we're one step too late. They've already left. Let's move on to the next planet. The people from the celestial immortals territory should have immediately headed for the next planet after the battle and didn't stop at all. Xiao Tianxian and the others from the 10,000 Swords sect discussed for a moment and decided to pursue the next celestial body. Save me. However, at this moment, a vague voice sounded in their ears at the same time. Who are you? Where are you? Hearing this faint and weak cry for help, the Myriad Sword sect immediately shouted, "I'm Blue Heart, the last survivor of planet Aquamarine. Your auras are different from the celestial immortals territory. You shouldn't be with them, right?" The weak voice sounded again. "How about it, old Xiao? Do you want to save them?" Hearing this voice, Master Wan Jian turned to Xiao Tianxian. When Night Sorrow wasn't around, the two of them were in charge of the celestial realm. "We should save her because we can get some information about the celestial immortals territory from her." Xiao Tianxian nodded, then shook his head. But we can't guarantee that this isn't a trap. What if he entered the sea and ended up like the bloody, celestial body? What should we do? Your worries aren't unfounded. Master Wan Jian nodded in agreement. But we have to take this risk. If he's not a liar, we can get a lot of useful information from him. I'll go. If the situation changes, I'll send a message to everyone. At present, in the celestial realm, Knight Soro's combat strength was ranked first, and Master Wan Jian was ranked first. Xiao Tianxian was ranked third. He felt that it was not safe to let anyone else go, so he volunteered to dive into the sea. Brother Xiao, you must be careful. Seeing Xiao Tianxian diving into the blue sea, Jin Xian and the others quickly reminded him. In such a risky thing, the slightest carelessness could cost one's life. After Xiao Tianxian dived into the sea, everyone in the celestial realm looked at the surface of the sea worriedly. Although they didn't have Knight Soro's sea serpent eye and couldn't see anything at all, they had been paying attention. While Xiao Tianxian dived into the sea, Knight Soro was still immersed in absorbing the laws and essence. After advancing to the upper divine king, his absorption speed had increased by thousands of times. Although he had obtained a lot of essence this time, it had taken him less than a year to absorb it. The laws and essence of Ji Feng and the others were completely different from the invincible sovereign's laws and essence he had absorbed before. The speed of absorption was completely beyond his expectations. After absorbing all of it, Knight Soro felt that his cultivation was steadily increasing, but the extent of the improvement was limited. He had not reached the half-step sovereign level. It seems that I still need to continue absorbing a lot of laws and essence. This thing is similar to virtuous energy. I can directly absorb it to increase my cultivation. After waking up from his cultivation, Knight Soro's eyes became sharper. He didn't immediately leave the cultivation room. Instead, he continued to strengthen the sea serpent eye. In the process of strengthening the sea serpent eye, Knight Soro recalled the battle with the blood corpses. They had killed many blood corpses, but they hadn't obtained any virtuous energy. This gave him some hope. After all, Knight Soro had always used virtuous energy to attain his Tao. Quick, save her! Just as Knight Soro was strengthening the sea serpent eye, he suddenly heard Xiao Tianxian shout. After Xiao Tianxian dived into the sea, he quickly found a blue-haired woman. She was indeed seriously injured and looked like she was on the verge of death. She didn't even have the ability to take out pills from her spatial artifact. These pills are all supreme-grade healing pills. I'll feed you. They're not poisonous. Then, the only female cultivator in the divine world, Yuan Fengxue, carried the blue-haired woman into the room and fed her 4 pills. After about a day, the blue-haired woman gradually recovered a bit of strength. She thanked them. May I know which territory you're from? Blue Heart will never forget your life-saving grace. We're from the Heaven Immortal territory. Can you tell us what happened? Yuan Fengxue asked Blue Heart according to their discussion. As soon as Yuan Fengxue finished asking, Blue Heart started crying. She choked with sobs. Our Azure territory was attacked by the Heaven Immortal territory. Everyone else has died in battle. Only I used my clone to fake my death and escaped. It's really the Heaven Immortal territory. Yuan Fengxue pondered for a moment and continued asking, how many people are left in the Heaven Immortal territory? There are about 20 of them, but they must have plundered several stars. That's why they're so strong. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been defeated so easily. Blue Heart cried. Genius remembered the address of this site in 1 second. Human mobile version reading website. Chapter 29-25. You're terrifyingly strong because you've plundered a few planets? What do you mean? Xiao Tianxian asked doubtfully when he heard Blue Heart's words. The others also paid attention. There was obviously more to her words. Don't you know that conquering other planets can give you strength rewards? Seeing Xiao Tianxuan's confusion, Blue Heart asked in surprise. Xiao Tianxian smiled awkwardly and said, To be honest, we don't have any experience in the second round. We don't know the rules. If possible, please guide us. All right, you're from the heavenly realm and have encountered some things. No wonder you don't know the rules. No one dares to tell you. Blueheart thought of the fact that they were from the heavenly realm and immediately understood. The heavenly realm territories were trampled on by the top 10 territories. Indeed, no territory dared to be on good terms with them. So, Miss Blueheart, please tell us the specific rules. Xiao Tianxian said humbly. You're my saviors. I'll tell you everything I know, but you have to promise that you won't tell anyone about this. Blueheart looked at Xiao Tianxian and the others and said helplessly, Blueheart doesn't want Azure territory to be involved with the heavenly realm. This is understandable. Tell us everything you know. Yuan Fengxue sat on Blueheart's bed and helped her tidy up her appearance. Then, Blueheart began to slowly tell them everything she knew. It turned out that in the second round and the final round, defeating other territories would give them strength rewards. It was the same for getting a good ranking. Even the top 100 in the second round of the Battle for Providence would be rewarded with the same level of rules and essences as the Invincible Sovereigns. However, according to the ranking, the amount would be different. As for the other rules, Xiao Tianxian and the others knew. So there's so much to say. How strong are the people from the Celestial Realm? Master Wan Jian frowned and asked. If the Celestial Realm's strength continued to increase, it would be difficult for them to defeat them. They should have plundered 4 to 5 territories and their strength increased by 40 to 50%. You should all be aware of just how much of an increase in strength is for a sovereign. Fortunately, this kind of increase in strength can only reach 100% at most. Otherwise, the gap in strength between them and the others will only grow bigger and bigger. Blueheart sighed. The people of the Azure territory originally wanted to observe for a while, but they didn't expect to be attacked by the Sky Immortal territory. Moreover, the people from the Celestial Immortal territory had increased their strength by 40 to 50% in such a short period of time. They were simply not a match for them and were easily defeated. Moreover, the Celestial Immortal territory had only lost a ruler. An increase of 100%? Isn't that doubling one's strength? That's terrifying enough. The master of Myriad swords lamented. Originally, they were still capable of intercepting the people from the Celestial Immortals territory. But now, it seemed like they had to avoid the brunt of their attacks. The people in the Celestial Immortals territory had made ample preparations. Their strength had increased too quickly. For the time being, there should be no opponents in the vicinity. What should we do now? Are you still tracking the people from the Celestial Immortals territory? Yuan Fengxue looked at the Myriad Sword sect, then at Xiao Tianxian. She waited for their answers. From the looks of it, it's impossible for us to defeat them directly. Let's think about the plan to track them down. The Myriad Sword sect said helplessly. From the looks of it, the gap in strength between the two sides should have widened. What they needed to do was to fight as well and increase their strength. We can go in the opposite direction from the Celestial Immortal territory and look for other territories. If we find something we can fight against, we'll immediately attack. This is a fight for luck. There's no need to be soft-hearted. Xiao Tianxian thought for a moment and said. Then everyone gathered their thoughts and set off again. Blueheart no longer had anyone to rely on, and she didn't want to crush her identity plate immediately. Therefore, she chose to travel with them and act as their guide. 3 days after Xiao Tianxian started the warship, Blueheart climbed up from her bed and walked to his side. She took out a blurry map and said, "This is the star map that our territory has drawn after participating in the second round of the competition for a long time. Our current position is in the north. It's not a place with many stars. If we continue to fly north, I'm afraid we'll only encounter 4 or 5 stars. If we go west, it'll be different from the Celestial Immortal territory in the south. There'll be a large number of stars." "Oh, is that so?" Xiao Tianxian took the star map from Blueheart and looked at it. He immediately had a sense of direction. Just as Blueheart said, if they kept flying north, they would encounter 5 territories at most. After that, they would enter the vast void. If they wandered in the void for too long, they would be eliminated directly. I really have to thank Miss Blueheart. Xiao Tianxian cupped his fists at her and then turned the rising god towards a star in the west. When they got close to the earthy yellow star, they immediately felt the fluctuations of battle on the surface of the star. Because the people fighting were all at the level of sovereigns, their power was soaring into the sky. This is a good opportunity. We could be the mantis stalking the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Xiao Tianxian said solemnly as he watched the fierce battle below. At this time, Yuan Fengxue said, "Can we observe first? Let's see if the two territories fighting have any grudges with our celestial realm territory. If they don't, we'd better not take advantage of them. We'll do as you say. However, does our celestial realm territory have a friend in the eternal supreme world?" Thousand Sword Master said unhappily. He felt that Yuan Fengxue was a little pretentious. At this time, Blue Heart, who had been observing for a while, said, "The battles below should be the Cliff Territory and the Nether Soul Territory. The Cliff Territory and the Nether Soul Territory have both targeted our Celestial Realm Territory in the Sovereign Space. Everyone don't show mercy," Thousand Sword Master said after hearing Blue Heart's words. He looked at her and asked, "How did you know that the other two territories are the Cliff Territory and the Nether Soul Territory from so far away?" "It's very simple. I can tell from the aura of their moves. Our Azure Territory has advanced to the second round dozens of times. Many territories have become old rivals." After Blueheart finished speaking, she sighed and said, "Sigh. Every time, even if our Azure Territory can advance to the final round, we can fight until the end. This time it's really depressing." Thinking about how she was the only one left in the Azure Territory, Blueheart's eyes turned red. Chapter 29-26. Are you sure? Thousand Sword Master immediately asked after Blue Heart spoke. He felt that this Blue Heart gave off a mysterious feeling, as if she knew everything. "I'm sure. Azure Territory and the two territories below have fought before, so we know what their ultimate moves are. You can't go wrong if you attack now." He looked down at Blue Heart and said confidently, "All right, we'll trust you this time," Thousand Sword Master said, then looked at Xiao Tianxian and the others and said, "Shall we go down now?" "All right, everyone attack together. But I'll have to trouble Miss Blue Heart to temporarily enter my space grotto heaven." After Xiao Tianxian finished speaking, he looked at Blue Heart. Every territory had their own secrets, and he did not want Blue Heart to see how the people of the heavenly realm fought. "All right, no problem." Blue Heart did not hesitate and entered Xiao Tianxuan's space grotto heaven. Then Xiao Tianxian drove the rising god closer to the star. When they were close to the star, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Xiao Tianxian. "This is the first time we're going to attack, so we have to make sure nothing goes wrong. I'll attack later. The 9 of us will cooperate well. As for the half-step supreme divine artifact, don't use it for now." At this time, he had finished strengthening the clam dragon's eye. What he saw was similar to what Blue Heart had predicted, so he did not stop Xiao Tianxian. "All right, with you fighting, nothing will go wrong." Xiao Tianxian laughed when he heard Night Sorrow's voice. At this time, Night Sorrow continued, "The cultivators below are fighting very fiercely. We can take the fruits of their labor, but try to keep them alive and let them crush their nameplates to leave." The two territories below each had around 15 ruler realm cultivators. However, at this point, both sides only had 8 people left, and one side only had 4. Moreover, these 8 people had expended a lot of energy, so they should not be able to resist much. Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Xiao Tianxian. "All right, we, the heavenly realm, still have this bit of loyalty. We'll do as you say." Xiao Tianxian replied Night Sorrow, then transmitted his voice to the others, telling them about Night Sorrow's instructions. Thousand Sword Master and the others were very happy when they heard that Night Sorrow had come out of his cultivation state. The heavenly realm's morale suddenly increased a lot. However, when the people from the god world arrived near the battlefield, they discovered that the people from the Stony Peak realm and the Nether Spirit realm were actually from the god world. Disdain was written all over their faces, and decided to cooperate temporarily to defeat the heavenly realm. You've already exhausted yourselves to this extent, yet you're still so arrogant? We gave you the chance to crush your nameplates, which is already the best we can do. Don't not appreciating it. This heavenly realms, the heavenly realms, heavenly you heavenly god realm, heavenly, night heavens. It's simply a fantasy. The leader of the Cliff Peak territory, Yin Lung, looked at Xiao Tianxian and the others with disdain. At this moment, the other members of the Cliff Peak territory and the Nether Soul territory began to take medicinal pills to restore their vitality. I get it now. You intentionally scolded my firmament territory to buy time so that you can recover your strength. All right, I'll give you some time so that you won't feel unreconciled after your defeat. Xiao Tianxian had been on the battlefield for many years. How could he not know what the other party was thinking? However, under Knight Sorrow's instructions, he gave the enemy time to recover. Originally, the 10,000 Swords sect didn't think it was necessary, but since it was Knight Sorrow who said it, he didn't refute. Ha ha ha, your deity world only has 2 higher hegemons, but there are 6 of us. What will you use to fight? The Nether Lord, the leader of the Nether Soul territory, said disdainfully. Then he looked at Knight Sorrow and said, if a sovereign isn't enough, the Divine King will fill the gap. Your divine realm is indeed the first one since ancient times. You'll find out soon enough whether it's just to make up the numbers or not. Hurry up and recover. Knight Sorrow looked at the leader of the Nether Soul territory, Nether Lord, and said expressionlessly. Although the other party was a higher hegemon, he couldn't bring much pressure to him. According to Knight Sorrow's observation with the Sea Serpent's eye, the strength of the 2 leaders should be below that of the 10,000 Swords sect in a one-on-one fight. Divine King Realman, I'll suck out your divine soul and seal it in a sapphire. I'll let others know what a divine king participating in the battle for Providence looks like. You'd better not crush your identity plate. The leader of the Nether Soul territory, Nether Lord, looked at Knight Sorrow with a malicious smile. Then let's wait and see. Knight Sorrow sneered. Although he hadn't reached the peak of the Divine King, he wasn't far off. His true combat strength was definitely much stronger than that of the 10,000 Swords sect. How could he be afraid of the Nether Lord in front of him? Wait until I get rid of the strongest person in your divine realm. Then I'll kill you, Ant. After the people of the Cliff Peak territory and the Nether Soul territory recovered, Nether Lord and the others completely ignored Knight Sorrow and prepared to fight the 8 people of the Divine Realm one-on-one before getting rid of him. Nether Lord, who didn't call himself this lord in front of the hegemons, also put on the airs of a hegemon. Attack! Seeing Nether Lord constantly ridiculing Knight Sorrow, the 10,000 Swords sect and Xiao Tianxian were already unhappy. Seeing that they had completely recovered, they immediately attacked. To avoid unnecessary casualties, we'll directly use the joint attack formation. Although he had the advantage in terms of individual strength, Knight Sorrow didn't act carelessly. His principle was to win every battle without any casualties. From the 9 domains world, this was his principle. Joint attack formation, your divine realm territory knows that you're too weak. So you came up with this so-called battle formation? Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, the leader of the Cliff Peak territory, Yin Lung, said disdainfully. He ordered kill. Don't give them a chance to crush their nameplates. Originally, we wanted to leave you with a chance to live. Now, it seems that there's no need for that. Hearing Yin Lung's words and seeing Nether Lord's killing intent, Knight Sorrow and the others instantly felt that there was no need to let them go. If they could kill them, they could just kill them directly. Shameless boasting. You'll soon understand that the Divine Realm territory no longer has the power it had in the past. Only destruction awaits you. After this battle for providence, you'll follow in the footsteps of the other territories that have exhausted their providence and be completely enslaved. Yin Lung roared with killing intent. Using the stone lock in his hand, he smashed it towards the 10,000 sword sect with the highest cultivation in the Divine Realm territory. Ming Jun, on the other hand, attacked Xiao Tianxian. Chapter 29-27. What happens to our territory in the Divine Realm is not something that you ignorant fools should worry about. Seeing Yin Shan from the Cliff Peak territory attacking him, Myriad Sword Master laughed disdainfully. Soon you will know how ignorant you are. As they spoke, Master Myriad Sword, Night Sorrow, and Xiao Tianxian executed a joint attack and attacked the leaders of the Stony Peak territory and the Nether Spirit territory, Stone Mountain, and Nether Monarch, forming a small area of 3 big and 2. The people of the God Realm territory did not use a joint attack technique immediately, because Night Sorrow, Myriad Sword Master, and Xiao Tianxian used a joint attack technique. They were confident that they could defeat Yin Shan and Ming Jun in a short time. The 2 of them were already weaker than Yi Shang and the others, not to mention the 3 of them working together. As for the combination of Murong Zhenlu, Shui Changtian, and Yuan Fengxue, as well as Nie Zhonglin, Yang Qing, and Jin Xian, although they were at a disadvantage in terms of strength, they were able to resist for the time being. They would not be defeated immediately. Immortal Sword Technique, Heavenly Profound Finger, Reincarnation Spear, Night Sorrow, and the others, after blocking the first round of attacks from Yin Shan and Ming Jun, they cooperated and launched a counterattack. The 3 of them cooperated well and used their ultimate skills at the same time, attacking Yin Shan and Ming Jun from 3 different directions. Yin Shan and Ming Jun were actually very proud. However, when the 3 of them used their ultimate skills, they were completely dumbfounded. They secretly said, "How can these 3 people from the God Realm territory be so strong? This is impossible. This is impossible." In the last battle for Providence, they were still at the bottom. The 2 of them realized that no matter how they looked at the 3 ultimate skills used by Night Sorrow and the others, they could not break it. Yin Shan and Ming Jun, at the same time, ignited their bloodline power. They wanted to make a final struggle. However, Night Sorrow did not even use the 33 Heavens battle technique. Myriad Sword Master and Xiao Tianxian did not use their secret techniques either. Stone Mountain and Underworld Monarch desperately tried to block the attacks of the 3. But after Night Sorrow activated the 33 Heavens secret combat technique, they were completely unable to resist. They immediately called for help from others. Now that things had developed to this point, they still had no intention of crushing their identity plates. Clearly, they still looked down on the celestial realm from the bottom of their hearts and felt that they would not be eliminated by them. However, they soon saw the reality. At this time, the other cultivators of the 2 territories were only in a stalemate with the people of the celestial realm. They didn't have the ability to support them at all. "You 2 trash. Do you know how weak you are now? Do you think you're qualified to look down on Night Sorrow and my God Realm?" After completely suppressing Stone Mountain and Ming Jun, Master Wan Jian said disdainfully. He had once looked down on Night Sorrow, but he was soon slapped in the face. Now he was very glad that he was born in the Celestial Realm and was not a match for the Celestial Realm. There's no need to talk nonsense with them. Just kill them. Xiao Tianxian said coldly, and then launched a fatal blow at Stone Mountain. "You will regret this. Just wait and see. My Stone Mountain territory will not let your Celestial Realm territory go." Seeing that he was powerless to resist Xiao Tianxuan's attack, Stone Mountain immediately took out his identity plate from his space grotto heaven and was about to crush it. "Do you think you have the chance to escape?" Master Wan Jian laughed disdainfully when he saw Stone Mountain take out his identity plate. He activated a jade talisman in his hand. The moment the jade talisman was activated, Stone Mountain was stunned for about a breath's time. It was in this breath's time that Night Sorrow snatched the identity plate from his hand. Jiling's jade talisman is really useful. Master Wan Jian smiled when he saw that Night Sorrow had succeeded in snatching the identity plate from Stone Mountain's hand. This jade talisman was the only thing that was not destroyed after Jiling's self-destruction. After studying it for a long time, he finally discovered the use of this jade talisman. It could temporarily paralyze a cultivator. However, especially strong rulers could only be paralyzed for a very short period of time. For example, Night Sorrow could also be paralyzed for less than half a breath time. If it was used on the top geniuses of the top 10 territories, it would probably not have much effect. But for Stone Mountain, this jade talisman was too terrifying. This should not be. After his identity plate was taken away, Stone Mountain was completely flustered. At the same time, Ming Jun was also flustered. While everyone was focused on Stone Mountain, he took out his own identity plate and prepared to crush it. At this point, he no longer had any hope of winning. He did not care about the lives of the others. He only wanted to leave the ancient battlefield and not die here. He can't escape, but you think you can? You have repeatedly insulted my celestial realm territory. You will be the stepping stone for my celestial realm territory's rise. Master Wan Jian, who had been guarding against Ming Jun, also activated his jade talisman after he took out his identity plate. Xiao Tianxian, who was already prepared, directly snatched the identity token from his hand. My nameplate. When Ming Jun recovered from his shock, he was completely dumbfounded. Before this, he had never thought that the Celestial Realm territory could be so strong and have so many tricks up their sleeves. After his nameplate was taken away, he thought for a moment and immediately shouted, "Cultivators of the Nether Soul territory, stop! Stop resisting!" What's going on? Leader, what do you mean? The cultivators of the Nether Soul territory who were in the midst of the fierce battle did not notice what was going on with Ming Jun. What I mean is help our friends of the Celestial Realm territory kill everyone in the Stony Peak territory. We will submit to the Celestial Realm territory. Ming Jun made a prompt decision. In his opinion, if he did not choose to submit now, what awaited him would be complete destruction. Brother Yi, how should we deal with this? Master Wan Jian did not expect Ming Jun to be so spineless. He immediately chose to submit after his nameplate was taken away. If they can swear an oath, it's good to have more fighters. After all, we have too few people. Night Sorrow was also surprised. After thinking about it, he felt that it would be good to take in some people from other territories. At the very least, it would increase their combat strength and increase their chances of winning against powerful opponents like the Celestial Realm. Good. Then we will kill everyone in the Stony Peak territory. Then we will make these people of the Nether Soul territory swear an oath. Master Wan Jian responded and prepared to attack the people of the Stony Peak territory. However, at this time, Stony Mountain directly knelt on the ground and shouted, "The Stony Peak territory chooses to submit. We are willing to completely obey the orders of the Celestial Realm territory in the second round of the Battle for Providence. Please be merciful. You are really spineless." Seeing that the people of the Nether Soul territory and the Stony Peak territory were so spineless, Xiao Tianxian said disdainfully, "You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.